And hold on to slight gains here this morning as we get going into a brand new week with a few Fed speakers on watch coming up later this afternoon. More to come later in the week as well as we head into that time period between the end of earnings season and the beginning of the next earnings season. There are still a few notable names coming up this week, but we'll touch on those coming up. There are definitely some movers this morning on the small cap side of things. Little one SCNI, a lot of people talking about already. Up big time, 88% on 450,000 share float. So heads up on that. GME on watch this morning as well with their shareholder meeting, rescheduled shareholder meeting coming up lunchtime today. We'll see if they can get it off this time instead of having to cancel it. They said it was technical difficulties back on Friday. Nvidia 130 comes and goes, continues. Tesla looking a little bit weak here as well, back to the downside this morning. But some positive news on the battery side of things coming out of China with some developments anyways in the solid state side of things. We'll see how that plays out for EV makers. Kind of a two-sided question I had for you to start things off. But did you watch any of the Euro Cup? Happy Monday, by the way.
I did, thank you. Happy Monday to you as well. Hope you had a great weekend. I did watch Euro Cup yesterday. England beating Serbia 1-0. Obviously, that's one of my teams. France playing today.
Yeah.
So watching both of those. How about yourself?
I was watching the Denmark game. We were sitting on a patio. I was up north for the weekend, and I noticed that BYD was advertising all over the place.
Yes.
During the Euro Cup.
And there's a BYD headline.
Yeah.
Uncle Warren was selling, Brendo. He sold quite a bit, about 30 million shares or so.
Yes, but their marketing budget being put to work here during the Euro Cup. But yeah, lots going on in the city this weekend as well. Beautiful weather to come this week in the Toronto area. It's going to be, I mean, with the humidity, 45, they were saying. 40, 45 Celsius, that is, for anyone south of the border. But good morning, guys. Happy Monday.
I mean, yeah, like it's not necessarily beautiful when it gets that hot. I think there are literally heat warnings for the next 3 days. But,
33 feels like.
Yeah, but this weekend was gorgeous weather. I know you guys did really well in baseball, coming out, knocking it out of the park. Shout out to you guys. It was crazy because I forgot you were off, so I didn't get a chance to wish you Happy Father's Day live, which obviously was yesterday. Hope everybody had a fantastic Father's Day and enjoyed themselves a good weekend. This week, it's going to be chips.
Yeah,
chips,
I came in and looked at the watch list. It's like every single name on here is a chip
Nvidia, TSM,
yeah, it's like,
ARM,
Tesla.
Micron. We'll tell you, Tesla's on there as well. So we talk about these things all the time. Like, to stick to what you're good at, find that core competency, and if it's trading the chips, then you're in luck. Great podcast this weekend. Shout out to Brennan and Sean there, as it was up in the bottom, and then you took it away there quickly, Remain. No, but it was a fantastic podcast.
Where's Fabian at? Is he off today? Is Fabian off today?
I don't know where he is. No, you guys had the podcast thing in the bottom, and just as I started to mention it, it gets pulled away. There we go. Freedom and Wealth, episode 3 dropped on Saturday, and it's a really fun one because I think, there's a couple of cool stories in there about like taking chances, and I know the story. The funny part was when you told the story about when you started to trade and were networking by
exactly.
Ingratiating yourself to the successful traders on the floor.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you guys were playing NHL 94.
Yeah.
With the current traders, well, the traders when you started out, and you liked it because of that one wraparound move in 94.
Exactly.
Which I hated.
Yeah.
Because my roommate university mastered it
You
before I did.
have to like ban it or something.
No, it's because like if one guy knew the move and the other person didn't know the move, the game was unplayable, essentially.
Yeah.
Because he could score every single time.
But I mean, if you see a guy do it 2 or 3 times, I'm sure you would figure it out.
I love that.
Yeah, no, that was a great game. They don't make those games like that anymore. Now they're too complicated. You have to there's checking, deking, sliding, like fake shots. Back then, man, B was slap shot, A was wrist shot, and like checking. I don't know.
Keep it simple, man.
Yeah, it was nice. A good look there. I was glad that England got the win there yesterday. That should be good. Of course, defending Euro champs, Italy. We'll be there. England is favored to win, by the way. So hopefully they can do that.
England's legit this year.
Yeah. So they're only plus 350, so it's like 3.5 to 1. So I didn't realize they're that dominant this year. So we'll see what happens. But
If they do
should be
meet each
good.
other, we can do something else again.
Well, Italy's schedule or bracket is Croatia, Spain, and Albania, which we just wound up beating. So all good. Albania won. It was only 2-1. So all right, you guys were only 1-0 yesterday. But you know what? It's the way it works for soccer. Yeah. So okay, we're excited to be back. It's a Monday. It's 8:35.
All right, let's touch on a few things moving around here. Here's Tesla trying to test that low from Friday, coming into play right now, early on this morning, 177, 175. I mean, there's a couple of minor things to note here on Tesla. A few analysts with some opinions coming off what happened last week with the shareholder meeting. Elon gets his pay package, but this was kind of interesting. I mean, they came out and actually said, remember, that the Model 2 is not going to be a thing. But now there's all this talk of a quote-unquote cheaper 20,000 USD model that could come around.
Well, I love how Elon responded to this when Reuters originally dropped the story that they were canceling the Model 2, and then he comes out later, a week later, and says, well, we're increasing the speed of Model 2 production. Obviously, this doesn't really hold much weight here, but the Model 3 got dropped by $250 in the U.S. The other headline is TDK, a company called TDK, made a breakthrough in solid-state batteries. It's supposed to be specifically for wearables, so for smaller devices, but you imagine with the kind of technology there is, it could possibly scale this. They can make it for EVs as well. We'll have to wait and see.
I feel like that's the natural next step here. It's just a matter of who's going to get it done. Toyota has also done a lot of work. Randy's been on here talking about that. Toyota's done a lot of work on the solid-state battery side of things as well. But here we are back to, what is that, Thursday, I guess, or Wednesday of last week, guys. That really, really strong up day before the gap higher coming into play right now around 175.
Yeah, it's unfortunately for Tesla, everything was looking almost fantastic in the middle of the week last week. You know, you held a 50. It's like, okay, you're off the bottoms again. This is the time that we're going to get to that 200 level. It was the exact opposite. Like, it gapped up, and then for Thursday and Friday were sell days. Friday was probably the weaker name of the group. There are a few weak names out there, but Friday was certainly them leading the charge. And you're right back underneath the 180 level. The 182 went from 1 day's worth of support to back into resistance. So if the trend is back into the downside, you've got 82, you've got 80, which were very clean. In the afternoon, 80 was kind of like a bit of a wall all day long on Tesla. So I'd suspect more of the same. And as we speak, it's trying to break through to the downside at 77. So still, I mean, that's great news. I mean, solid-state batteries for, smaller devices, you got to start somewhere. And eventually, I think they crack that. But for now, Tesla still feels like it's in a little bit of those doldrums, unfortunately. And what's interesting is we talked about how long Tesla has been just chilling out in this range on the 50 period, where it's been like a month. I feel like AMD's starting to do the same thing. And I would not want to compare, Tesla and AMD aren't the same. But the way that this is, it's just riding the 50 period, but it's just stopped moving. Last week, AMD did nothing. You've got every single chip, almost every single chip name, Intel popped in my head, it's not moving. Almost every single chip name pressing to fresh highs, 52-week highs, all-time highs. ARM made an all-time high last week. Micron's making an all-time high as we speak, I want to say. And Nvidia, every single day, it makes a new fresh one. Meanwhile, AMD is just riding that 50, just like Tesla was, and eventually it'll break out. But the pattern when Tesla was doing it was to just go long off the bottom and short off the top. I like the short better because it's with trend. So if these two things are alike for that reason, if you're sitting in a channel and you think it's weak, short the top end of the channel. Try to keep it simple.
For me, for Tesla, yeah, I like the 180. I think it's it's broken underneath it here. Obviously, I wasn't here on Friday, but look how good this was. I feel like there should have been probably, hopefully a lot of good trades and money made here on Tesla if you were looking at it because, you hit 180 all morning and then all afternoon. So I'm just going to be there to do it again. So there it goes. It's starting to head downside, obviously, when the market's weak. This name is down 0.66. So well different than what's happening here. But look at this trend right now in the NASDAQ. So I think we got to pick on weaker names. And for right now, it does look like this 180, if we're able to hold, and somehow get back up there, then we would like that fade. But this is the thing, when the market's going like this and I'm thinking negatively on a stock, you almost have to get short, not right away, but if it starts to dance around this 178, 178.50 area, that's probably something to look at rather than waiting for 180. Because if the market doesn't rebound, you're not going to get 180, and then you're not going to be in the trade. So I'm going to be pushing Tesla down into this area, probably 178, 178.50. So let's just see what happens in the next hour or so with those levels. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. For right now, it's 180. But obviously, as we wrote the sticky note down and we started looking at this thing, the NASDAQ has now fallen about 30 or 40 points in the last 10 minutes, so creating Tesla to move down about $1. So we'll wait to see what happens, but now I'm going to be using this 178, 179 area to get short. Keep it simple, stupid.
A few earnings to come through this week on the retail side of things. There is a little bit of strength in the retail side of things this morning as well. This is Best Buy on an upgrade today. We're gapping up to 90.75. This thing's been on a tear since it reported going back to May. Huge move to the upside off the earnings report. Nice consolidation. This is a Michael Noss special. And then now continuation, gapping up. If you zoom out a little bit, trying to get through some long-term levels here for Best Buy.
Yeah, I've got my eye on that 92.5, 90-ish area, Brendo, for breaks there. That's going to be a good look. Yeah, so UBS analyst Michael Lazar upgrading Best Buy today from neutral to buy, raising the price target to 106 from 85. Still haven't had eyes on his reasoning. That should come through soon. Hopefully we'll get that to you guys. But it's been tough for some of these retailers as the consumer does get a little bit squeezed here. Best Buy really performing a little bit better. Keep your eye on the upgrade cycle for some of these PCs. A lot of new AI PCs being released that could help buoy Best Buy sales.
Yeah. As far as who else is reporting this week, in the retail space specifically, Kroger coming up. That's Thursday pre-market. Lazy Boys actually after the close tonight. CarMax, KMX set to report this week as well. I mean, there's some home builders, KBH, Lennar, all this week as well.
Man, we also have Juneteenth. This is Wednesday.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God! In the middle of the week, we just get a day off. So that's really nice. But yeah, some good Lennar too. Like so some of the home builders coming through should be pretty exciting. I mean, with rates where they are, we can check out Lennar really quickly. I think this is going to be tonight. He reached over my show. I thought it was like Randy was here. I don't think Randy's here today for some reason. Some of these home builders kind of just stuck right now. So Lennar's going to come out, KB Homes. And again, with the rates where they are, I'm not expecting there to be too many outrageous moves coming through right here. And you can see it's been really doing nothing all year. So the home builders have been a really sort of a dead spot for this year. And I don't know, with refinancing and everything being where it is, I'm not really expecting too much to come from here. So you also have the XHB, the home builders ETF. So I just want to, if you guys there's KB Homes, Lennar all coming through. So just to be able to sit in one of these maybe, but I'm not super excited about that. Maybe CarMax because used cars have kept up there a little bit in price and valuation. So there could be something with CarMax, with KMX. But other than that, yeah, we'll just wait to see where these earnings go from. And yeah, we're excited today. We'll be doing the recap show, and I think we'll have who comes on Mondays. Is it Michael Noss again? It is Michael Noss. Yeah. So I just see him there in the green room. He's gonna be ready to go, and I know we're gonna talk. We'll definitely talk about crypto with him tonight as well. Yeah. And I know there's a few other things he wants to talk about here. So. Yeah, CarMax looking pretty good on this move right now, consolidating near the bottom. So this is another level here for KMX, 68, 69 bucks. So just like the way that looks, a possible move back to the upside if they start to talk a little bit about those used car prices. We saw that was still pretty sticky on inflation.
I know Brendan was pointing out that lovely looking Best Buy chart, which I know Michael Noss is excited about. But there's another name, I'm talking a retail name, that we were mentioning last week, that it's the other way. Sometimes you want it to be one way, but it's the other way. And I don't want to forget Target. Trades are trades. Target is not looking very good. It's red right now. It lost the 50 period a while ago, and it's potentially losing the 200 period this week or today. This $140 level, you can see like on earnings, you have a 140 bottom. Essentially, your 141 is a 200 period moving average. If Target loses 140 bucks, I think it can be a bit of a trend down. We like it when stocks go up, but when stocks trend down, it's like at the short till it's not. Target's chart pretty much exemplifies that sentiment. So it might break 140 sometime this week. Best Buy, very, very different and looking quite good. Target, bad. Walmart, good. Best Buy looking fantastic, though. A great call by Michael Noss. Sometimes you look at these breakouts and just, you observe it, you observe it. Today it's making the break. Looks like it's it's not a blue sky setup. It's all systems go, let's call it that, breaking out this 89, but it's not necessarily a blue sky setup because it's got a little bit of chop that it's trying to take out. But when you have a turn, let the stock make your nice little bottom and then start to break out and just join that trend. Speaking of trends, the trend is to listen to Michael on Monday. So let's see what Michael Noss has to say.
Yeah, a bit of a lesson to come your way today on market cap, Mr. Noss. Happy Monday. How was your weekend?
Happy Monday. Very happy Monday with Best Buy. I didn't know that until I tuned into the show. So I'm glad to see a nice little gap up there.
Yeah, great looking daily chart. Anyways, trying to get through those long-term levels. As I was mentioning, we're going to have a little bit of a look at different areas of the market, and I like the concept here. And I think a lot of people, spend so much time focused on either one end or the other in mega cap tech or teeny tiny little small caps or micro cap type stocks, because that's typically where the volatility is. But tell us a little bit about what's in between.
Yeah, so one of the exercises I do every weekend, as every self-respecting chart nerd goes through a couple hundred weekly charts on the weekend. One thing that I like to do is I like to go just what I call down the cap scale and try to figure out if there's some areas of strength or weakness. So I have this little graphic. For those who don't know, when I say market cap, it just means the total value of the company. You take all of the shares that are outstanding and you multiply them by the price, and that's your market cap. So for example, Nvidia is worth $3 trillion. GameStop's worth $5 billion, right? All of these companies, even though people look at the price, they have different caps or market cap. So just some definitions when I talk about it. So mega caps are stocks that are $200 billion or more. Every mega cap, if I say its name, you guys will probably recognize. Then we have large cap, which is anything over 10 billion. We have mid cap, which is 2 billion to 10 billion. And then we have small cap, which is 300 million to 2 billion. Then we have micro cap, which is anything under that. So just so you know, this is just one way of basketing stocks. Sometimes we basket stocks by what sector they're in. Sometimes we basket stocks on whether, they're retail or technology or whatever in this case, for this exercise, what I do is I basket them by how big of the company it is. And is the market favoring one thing or another? There's a pretty clear trend. I'm going to go through some charts and show you guys. And the first chart here is the mega cap. So the big guys, these are again, $200 million plus. Super strong weekly chart. Amazing candle last week, broke out, hit new highs, and closed right at all-time highs. Couldn't get stronger. And then we go to the next chart, and this is the SPY, the SP 500, the one we all know. And this is your large cap companies. So it has some mega caps in it and has some companies that are a little bit further down the list. Again, a great looking, very strong chart. If you just stopped here and you just focused here, you would say the market is very strong right now. And then if you held a bunch of individual securities that weren't going up, you may be confused to why. So the next chart I have here, this is the mid cap. So I like to focus on the mid caps a lot because a lot of people don't. Like Brendo was saying, you have your big caps, and those are the ones that take up all the news time. It's what most people are talking about. Then you have the small or the micro caps, and those are the crazy ones like the biotechs. But the mid caps, again, you're $2 to $10 billion. So you're not a tiny company. Again, you've put GameStop in here. You're not a super tiny company, but you have room to grow. So I always like to look in the mid cap area just to say these are kind of the up and comers, right? They're not junky companies and they're not super mega profitable companies, but they're the ones that could become something interesting in a few years. And this chart doesn't look nearly as well, and you can see just what a dramatic stark difference from our big caps to here our mid caps. It looks like this could potentially break down, and that would be a failed breakout on the mid caps. If we go down the cap scale again to the next chart, this is your small caps. So this is that $300 million to $2 billion range. And I marked those prior highs that the mid caps look like they may fail from, that the large caps are well above, and our small caps, they never got anywhere close. And last week's candle was down and pretty weak. This is what really sparked it off for me, is that Big caps, massive green weekly candle. These other guys couldn't even get green on the week. And last but not least is our microcaps. So this is IWC, which is an ETF on the microcaps, and it looks even worse. So the idea here and the theme is that this is a very concentrated rally in the market. And I'm sure you've heard that from a bunch of different ways, but this is another way to express that, where it is the really big guys, your Microsofts, your Nvidias, your Apples, they're leading this rally and everything else isn't getting going. So for me as a technician, that's an area of pause. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So we have two directions that we have to keep an eye on in the market going forward. One is that people start taking profits in the large caps and they start applying those to the smaller caps. That'd be good. That would lift these small cap indices up, and then we kind of have a more broad market rally that's a little bit healthier. The other thing is if this just keeps going and the small caps can't get going and the large caps are the only thing going, then we're going to have a problem where, there's too many people are in one side of the boat and the boat could potentially tip over. Where if too many people are focused entirely on the large caps and that's where all the investment is going and the rest of the market sinks, then if anything at all happens to the AI play, the market could be in for some trouble. So the only takeaway is keep an eye on the IWM, keep an eye on the MDY or the mid caps. And if they can't get going, then again, I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about this rally in the market.
The optimist in most traders would always want and look for exactly what you were saying there, that rotation out of some of the names that have done so well, some of the areas of the market that have done so well, and then start to see some of the smaller names moving. If you do start to see a little bit of volume picking up, a little bit of attention, I guess, being put towards the mid caps, the small caps, where do you go then? Do you drill down to that next level to find individual names that are setting up?
Yeah, you could do either. So you could just buy the ETFs if you think that's going to happen. I think that's fine. For me and what we do at Trade Ideas is we focus a lot on these smaller type companies that are moving pretty quickly. So what I'm going to be spending the day doing is looking in these two scenarios, and we'll talk about this in the after hours show, where I'm going to look for some small caps and some mid caps that look good if the rotation comes, and then look for some things to short, because if it doesn't, then I might as well be ready to play the downside too.
Overall, the market still, as you said, holding up very nicely. Mr. Noss back with us after the close tonight. Make sure everyone sticks around for that. We'll see you then.
Talk to you then.
There, Michael, and I feel as if this is something at least a couple of times we've talked about, not just with Michael in the mornings, but I know there's some other guests that talked about this, the breadth of the market or lack thereof of the market move. And we've done so in the aftermarket show. And look, it's whether you want to trade that relative weakness in the IWM, it's actually not crazy when you look at its kind of trend into the downside. Like there's something for everybody. Like if you're a swing trader, yeah, you wait for something to happen, maybe go into the individual names. But when you see something like this, as a day trader, it's not that difficult to try to look for some kind of a trend down. There were some decent pop-ups, and then pretty much every single day, if you were just looking to fade it, if you think that something is relatively weak, okay, there's a big breakout day that immediately gives back. Technically speaking, the next day, the previous close resistance, and then it pops back down. And then on Friday, you had a similar situation, like you had it try to get going off the open, it fails a high, and then just a little bit of a trend down. Not too dissimilar, but not as crazy as, say, the Tesla chart. So, I think at the end of the day, when we're day traders, we're typically just looking for that pattern one way or the other. So if you see something with relative weakness, you can, wait until you get that correction or catch up in the swing basis and look for things that will catch up with it. Or as a day trader, just try to join that trend as well. It's always going to be a pretty viable option for you. And as we say, try to join the trend. Every time I look up, well, the move up in Nvidia, there we go. And it's not split adjusted, that chart. The move up in Nvidia almost got to 134. We're right back into Friday's highs, that 133 level. So a bit of a red candle. The future's also moving a little bit down back into break even. Just for everyone out there, today would be the day that the September contract is going to do more volume than the previous. So, you want to change to the U contract for the ES and for the NASDAQ, just to make sure that you're tracking the one that's doing the most prices. And let's get on over to the green screen where Adair is ready with some upgrades and downgrades.
Not one, but two mega caps kicking off the upgrade side of things today. We have Microsoft getting this $550 price target from Wedbush amidst some AI demand. We also have Nvidia getting this upgrade from Susquehanna to 160. So nice look here for NVDA and MSFT. We also have Susquehanna upgrading TSMC here. So Taiwan Semiconductor's nice look here, up about 3% with a $200 price target. Best Buy getting an upgrade as well from UBS. On the downgrade side, Loop Capital downgrading both Union Pacific and MSC. We also have Goldman Sachs downgrading both LP Building Solutions and Owens Corning. So some interesting names, especially in the upgrade side of things this morning, guys.
I have a question for you. This I wasn't here. This 130 break right here on Nvidia. Why did no one make any real money on this? Was there something going on where the futures not moving properly, or what? Because like I thought this would have been an absolutely crushed level there.
I don't want to speak for speak for anybody else.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I don't try to focus on like what the other guys behind are.
No, but for you then, okay. So why was it this?
The dip buy was had. The breakout was absolutely had. Nvidia was the best stock on the floor.
It was?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Nvidia absolutely was.
I might have looked at the wrong day because I didn't see that. But okay, good. All right, good. So that's good. So I was thinking that there was a issue there, but there wasn't. Okay, so good. So for the upgrades and downgrades, this is why I wanted to see, because I think Nvidia now can break that 135. So I wanted to see like if there was a problem there, because that was great. And I thought maybe because of this top here, something, like maybe we took 50 cents on it or something like that, because this break up there to 133.
It also
did. And then this dip buy, like you said.
It did break at the open, though.
Right, okay, there. Yeah.
If you see the first candle, it's hard to tell. We're the exact same chart up.
Yeah.
But it did break 130, and it was here. Like, you had to take this play.
So I probably would have lost there.
So, like, no, I had this trade. I had 130. Oh, here's the other thing. It filled exactly 130 again. So it broke up. I got 130s. Stopped out there, we did some dip buying, but if you took it the second time through when it broke the 130, that time it was like, I think I even got the 130 even again. So, sometimes you've got to take a breakout trade. You don't have to, but sometimes the break the second or the third time is going to be the better trade. And not every stock is going to be that way, but I feel like that first move maybe got people away from it on Nvidia. It still made that higher low. If you look at it on the higher time frame, like if you zoom it out, it's been making higher lows. Like every single dip has been pretty well respected, like all the big ones. You hold on to this level down in here. When it dips, it holds on to the previous high. When it dipped, it held on to this level. So even today, like I think you could be like 131 would be pretty reasonable, even if it dipped into 131. Pre-market lows at 132 are going to be pretty reasonable when it comes to Nvidia. And the trend is your friend. We look at this, and I look at that versus AMD. I know the one that I would short if it got to resistance. I mean, Nvidia doesn't have a resistance level because it's at all-time highs. AMD just can't seem to break out. So you want to play relative strength, relative weakness. I want to shout out, thank you, Donnie Zimbabwe. I saw the super chat here a second time here. SCNI having a great time for me. You're long 615. You guys been checking it out. Just a word for you on SCNI. It's actually not in our database here today at Real Trading. I put a ticket in for it. It's an ADR, so I can pull up a chart on maybe TradingView or something else for you for SCNI, but it's not in our database to be able to trade, so we will not be trading it today. Good look holding on to your Nvidia 125 calls. Obviously, those doing pretty well, but we have a long week to go. I think at the end of the week, there's going to be some selling going into the rebalancing, just simply because these big names that have run so far, they're very heavily weighted in the indexes now, and you probably need to have some down weighting, but that's more of an end of the week thing.
Yeah, I just for you, Donnie, there, I think that, because you're asking about Nvidia here, whoa, yeah, that's right, we got to zoom back out of this chart. I mean, if you were getting nervous about 125 calls, I mean, this has been this is just a 20-minute chart. But this 50 period, and I know this is coming down here because of the split, but since then it's been fine. There's been 50 candles here. So I would say this 131 area, you know, if it starts to look like it's going to break that. And I know options are different because I don't know what the stop orders look like there, if they're even existing at all on your platform, but 131, if it looks like it's going to break that, then I would say you would take your $6 of premium there because you're 125 long, and Neil's right about the rebalancing and everything. You know, like if you hold on to these till the end of Friday and it's a big rebalance to the downside, you could get like a $5 or $6 move even just off the open on Friday. It could be both ways. I don't know which way it's going to go, but I'm just, you know, if you want to flip a coin, that's one thing. If you want to, you know, trade it more responsibly, I think 130 to 131 would be sort of where I would think about getting out. And like what Neil said there on Friday, where we broke out from, there was, you know, broke out early, came in and then broke and then came back in and wow, what another opportunity that was right there at 129.50. Came back in there again. So yeah, there's definitely some support down here, but the NASDAQ, as long as the NASDAQ is green, like Nvidia is going to be up. So I'm not too worried about it, but thank you, Mr. Zimbabwe. We'll be looking at a lot of trades. It's only 9 o'clock, so we still got a lot of time to go here before this market opens up. So let's go back to the desk.
All right, let's get into everything we need to know on a Monday here. We'll kick things off as we always do with a look at the overall market.
54.38, the same exact level that we closed on the day prior on the ES. This is the June contract, the last day. We'll be charting the June contract tomorrow. We'll start with the September contract, which is now doing more volume. 54.50 as resistance. It's been resistance since the 12th, as support 5400, and we've been locked in that range for a few days now.
If you are looking for an absolutely free resource, we have one for you. Go to the website, tradertv.live. Wait for that pop-up to appear. You enter your name and your email, and that's it. Absolutely free. Comes right to your inbox every single morning from us to you. Here is GameStop. This is a 15-minute chart. If I zoom in a little bit, not really doing a heck of a lot. We're still stuck within the range of Friday. Gets down to 27.5. Top end was 30.50. Still sitting around this 29 area this morning. Take two, I guess, on
Just gonna say
the shareholder meeting today.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Brendo. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have something for you on the midday today. Adair and I were going through great lengths to try to find the stream for the meeting. So no real focus as to what they're going to talk about. It's not known whether Roaring Kitty will participate or not. We'll have to see exactly what topics they discuss and exactly how the stock trades after that. But we're going to give it another try today.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Again, 12:30 is the expected start time here, guys.
Well, I don't know if he'll participate. I'm sure he'll tweet something at some point. So we'll see. Like, it'll happen. At the end of the day, I actually generally prefer trading it when there isn't something like that going on. To be real, like even when during Roaring Kitty's live stream, like really outside of when he would say sort of things that would kind of obviously move it in one direction or the other, like you just prefer to be able to trade price action, which thankfully the last couple of days GameStop has traded very nicely like a normal stock. It's not been halting all over the place. You've been able to just sort of look at key levels. Like in the afternoons, it's been pretty good trending after making early bottoms. So just going to show you like a Thursday and Friday. Like Thursday, double bottom in the morning, and then just sort of trend up the rest of the day where you can find yourself into some trades, like little breaks, little dip buys. It did something similar, but a smaller move on Friday where it dipped back into VWAP, then retook the 29 into the 30 level. 30's been some resistance, unfortunately. Yeah, so I just want to look for that same pattern. Ideally, it does exactly what it did the last 2 days, which is sell off at the open, make a bottom, whether it's a double bottom, rounded bottom, look for the long after that. Instead of sitting there in front of the falling knife, I'd rather just catch one of these higher lows or maybe catch a bounce back above VWAP and then make that trade. That's worked 2 days in a row. And shorting in the 31 range probably has paid off as well. So I'm not that interested in like hey, let's wait till 12:30 and just start hitting GameStop all over the place. No, I'd rather just follow this pattern the last couple of days where it's dipped into the open, at the open and after the open. Look for it to make some kind of a decent bottom in here. Don't predict it, and then catch one of these higher lows or a VWAP retrace. And I won't be trading any AMC either. That's really been asleep.
AMC, yeah, that one. So you guys still got to pay for shorts here, but they're pretty cheap on GME. So Look, I wrote it down on the sticky note because if there is going to be something, it's worth looking at. And I just want to write things down that I feel like may be important at some time. I don't think this conference, I mean, this is just a conference call. I don't expect anything. We're not expecting GameStop to be saying anything, or they're just going to review their release that's already out. I don't know why it's taking this long. We had that technical difficulty. Of course, Roaring Kitty should have absolutely nothing to do with this. So I thought it would be kind of cool if he did his own live stream as this was happening, and then he could comment on things that he heard. But other than that, I don't think there'll be any sort of a thing, unless what Neil was mentioning there. You could get a tweet that comes out or something like that during the call if and when there's something said. So I think you just ear to the ground, and then the reason why I just keep on looking at this level and why I wrote down $27 is because this is $27. I mean, it's I want to play support and resistance. This is just a 1 minute chart. If you sort of zoom back to Thursday, 27 was kind of the top, and Friday 27 was the bottom. So I mean, if you're just going to draw a line here, it's not rocket science what we're going to do here. Comes back into here, we go long, stays underneath it, then you can play the short off of that level. There's really nothing else. I mean, if it breaks higher, then you're going to just play the momentum, and you're close enough to 30 that I think you want that. I mean, right there's the top on Friday, so that's tough to short. You know, unless you really like the short and you use 30, then you got $2. But at the end of the day, I still think we can break that 30, especially when that conference call kicks in. So I just say play the momentum, right? If it hovers around 27, try it. If it breaks 30, try it. Other than that, you're kind of just waiting. So could be a play, down 0.5%. Oh, let me just check before I go back over there just to see if there is any imbalance on it. Teledoc. These imbalances are really light, man. Like summertime is here. Summertime is here. These are real light. We'll wait to see what. I don't even see GameStop on here unless I'm not looking properly. There's AMC. No, I don't see GameStop. So AMC is, as Neil mentioned, not doing anything. So what's Square doing? Square is a name that's always up back and forth. Square with a small sell imbalance. $60. Oh man. Okay. And then Taiwan Semi, which I'm sure
It's on the watch list.
We won't get to, but it's this is another one here breaking through all-time highs right now of 176. So watch out for Taiwan Semi continuing to go higher here.
Square's bad.
Was that this morning? Oh, okay. Neil Kashkari on CNBC. Going into the new week here. As we said, there's a couple Fed speakers coming up later this afternoon, more later in the week as well to keep in mind. Here's Nvidia right now, 1.18%, trying to get back to pre-market highs here. I was just noting the NASDAQ basically flat. It is exactly flat, back to where we ended the session back on Friday. So this is a more semi thing than it is a tech thing at this point this morning.
It is, Brendo. Yeah, another day, another upgrade for the monster Nvidia, this time coming to us vis-a-vis Susquehanna. Analyst Christopher Rowland raising the price target on Nvidia to $160, basically basing it on above average earnings multiple and the belief in Nvidia's potential. It makes him the most bullish analyst on Wall Street, with the average price target amongst the analysts at $123. He sits the highest at 160, Brendo.
Yeah, if you zoom out onto a weekly chart, it just it's insane, absolutely insane what this thing has done. 133.50 here, guys, after we ended the week back at 131 on Friday.
Well, you said the weekly chart, so we might as well have a gander at what that weekly chart looks like, just so we can have some fun. I mean, everybody knows how great Nvidia has been, and when you zoom it in, there was your chance. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities. See, the fun thing when something is this strong is not like there's bad opportunities to get in when it's doing this. Ultimately, they're all good, just as long as you're in the stock. That said, in a day trade on Friday, and I want to say feel like on Thursday as well. Thursday, a more extreme example of it than Friday. Like Friday, it dipped, and then it did do a breakout eventually before another dip buy. On Thursday, it was really just only a dip buy opportunity for you, and it was a pretty good one on Thursday into the 127, still putting in higher lows. I want to go dip and rip. That's what's in the note. That was the intention on Friday, and that was the start, and then it turned into this, okay, well, it's going to break 130 multiple times, and we're just going to take that breakout. We'll take breakouts as they set up. Like maybe we dip into this 132 where you closed. 131 it was really great at VWAP at 1 o'clock off the 131, so I still like that area as well. So going to look for dip and rip at a couple of places on Nvidia, just because we don't really. I mean, as Sean mentioned, like TSM, it's not actually on the list. It's on the watch list. It's not on the rundown list there for us. But it's making some fresh highs here, and the ADR obviously making some fresh highs. Trades at a bit of a premium. That's mentioned in our note as well. And almost all of these are going to look very similar. Micron's chart's going to look like TSM. I kind of prefer that, and we'll get to Micron in a second. But the 175 on TSM, last week's tops, 75, 76, look pretty good. The trend is your friend. There are weak chip names out there, like an AMD, that you can short on pops. These other ones, I wouldn't try that, though, just because the trend is so clean.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, I already put it down here. I think it's pretty obvious. We're just going to wind up punching 135 longs, I'm pretty sure, on Nvidia here today. But yeah, I would love some dip buy opportunities as well. So I just put a bid at 132. I think that's a no-brainer level. If you get into 132, you take it, you watch out for it, you see what happens. I mean, you could get into 130, 150 if that does happen, and then you just take more shares. And at some point, you're going to want to punch out. So you're going to say, well, when am I going to want to punch out? When do you think you're wrong? Well, I think you may be wrong right here at 130.50. If you want to, if you're down to 130.50, then you might say, why not just wait for 130? But I mean, I don't know if this is going to be a bouncing spot or not right here. I feel like if it does get this low today, you're down whatever percent or something at that point, you have to give it all back. And then that's where you feel like the close was 132. So then for you to get down into 130-ish, you're going to be red a percent or so, which is, I just don't really see that today. I don't see selling happening in Nvidia. I feel like people will take money out of these other names. I'm not worried about it. Like, I'd rather sell Micron as Micron continues, and we're going to get to Micron, I assume, too. As Micron continues to go higher, I'd rather buy Nvidia and sell Micron. If I was in Micron, I would do that trade, right? And so you're just going to be able to see a little bit of a difference here in some of the chip names and how I'm going to play them. But for me, I haven't even looked at AMD. I just want to focus on Nvidia. This is only a $130 name. It's quite obvious where the trend is right now, and I just say stay long this name. I mean, it's gorgeous. I love that 131 that I talked about with Mr. Zimbabwe there. So first dip buy here, first break level is 135. I say 135 comes first, but as Neil mentioned, which is why we talked about it from Friday, is there was that sort of opportunity where, and I don't know what Friday was in the market, if it opened up green or red, but we're opening up flat anyways today, so it doesn't really matter. But like, if you love Nvidia Friday, and you're going to love it today, well, it still goes down almost $2 right off the open. So to think that that doesn't have the pedigree to do that again would be foolish. So 132, 131, 130, we'll wait for that. And then if 135 happens to happen first, then I guess we got to take that breakout long. But one of my worst trades on Nvidia recently was taking some kind of a breakout. So we're going to have to wait. And I think it was a couple days ago, I think the first time it broke 130. But anyways, we'll wait to see what happens here with Nvidia today, up at 135.
No way. That'd be amazing.
I was reading, I think, on the weekend that said Optimus will now babysit your kids, apparently from Elon. I don't know how that's going to go over. Microsoft, another positive, or a couple actually, analyst notes this morning to the positive side. There was this as well. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates backing Satya Nadella, Brad Smith among ongoing federal investigation over security concerns. But there was a price target increase this morning, and a couple of analysts echoing that sentiment back to 442 here.
Yeah, one of those analysts, Brendo, the much loved, anyway, lately, Daniel Ives of Wedbush Securities, upgrading this one from 500 to 550, maintaining that outperform rating. Here are the reasons: positive customer feedback on Microsoft's AI offerings. We saw the Copilot specifically for Microsoft. They're also increasing monetization for Copilot and the growth in enterprise adoption for AI solutions. All reasons he's upgrading this one, Brendo.
Unsurprisingly, with the overall market kind of flat, guys, so is Microsoft to start things off here.
But it's another stock that wants an all-time high. I feel like we should have a counter on how many times all-time high gets said on a day. I say it all the time in the mornings. Maybe if there was no such thing as Nvidia, there's a world in which I'd probably just be looking for a 444 break on Microsoft here today. But the problem is Nvidia does exist, and the chips, all these like ARM, Nvidia, Micron, they all have been such fantastic opportunities, especially at the open if you get that early move. I just can't bring myself on light volume. It's a triple top up here at 444. That's more of a, if it breaks that high and does the nice little walk, then I think you want to join it. And if you look at, I want to zoom in on like this particular day. Here we go, if we can. If you look at like when it broke 428, so you had this like high going in last week, and then it eventually broke it out. Well, look what happened in the trend. Like, it wasn't initially when it broke the high. It was kind of choppy in there. It's when it dipped after that, reclaimed that top, and then started to go. I feel that's the approach that I would want to have to Microsoft. You know, let it take out 444, see what happens. If there's a good dip buy opportunity after that, join the trend in the afternoon. Even on Friday, like I didn't trade this on Friday, but looking back at it now, it's like, okay, higher, low, higher, low. There were a plethora of dip opportunities to get once it started going. I think that would be the approach. I think the chip names are just a little bit more in play, a little bit better volume. So if you're gonna be in and out, I'd rather be doing it in those. But Softy, if it holds above 444, then I wouldn't want to be shorting it unless something crazy happens and it's back underneath. But yeah, big all-time high. I won't take the breakout, but if it trends above 444, I think you look for dip buys later in the session.
Yeah, it's high as 443.40. We'll see. I don't know. I'm trying to see about a dip buy opportunity as well in this name, but I mean, it's been so strong. I mean, we talked about this name sub 400, that it was going to be the next one, and just like how Amazon and all these names just keep on wanting to get back to highs, and you really want to buy any weakness in them. We had Goldman upgrade the S&P 500 from 52 to 5600. I mean, it's just all these names continue to work. I don't know if this is the same kind of refresh cycle or anything like that as Apple. I mean, I don't know if people are going to be buying more keyboards or computers because there's a ChatGPT button on it or anything like that. But hey, they've monetized AI, not many companies have. So I like Microsoft back down here to 435 if there's any opportunities. I really like that kind of a spot there because that's that gap. I mean, it's not even a gap. It's just the last time we broke it, we hadn't seen it. So I'm going to leave Microsoft alone until we get back into this area. Just a little bit too choppy here and around 440. So 435, which could be incoming right off the open. So we'll wait to see, but it's still only 9:16. I mean, wow. We still have 10 minutes before the NASDAQ imbalances, and I think that will help because right now the market is just hovering. And our best ability might be in trading the TQQs. So if the market's going to just kind of hover like this, then I'm almost thinking about a short in here around where the NASDAQ's at up here near 20,000. Like, I can't believe we actually even breached that on this morning again, but wow. So it's somewhere up here, 19.9. If we can get a move up for the NASDAQ, and that would be TQs somewhere around 74.50, which we're getting close to that right now, 75. I think a fade off of such a key level of 20,000 NASDAQ might be in play. And if that's true, then Microsoft does have the opportunity to pull back in. And on pullbacks right now, I'd rather buy. We don't have Apple coming through. I'd just rather buy Apple on pullbacks because, again, if we're going to play the market and we want to play some of these big cap names, I mean, Apple is pulling back as we speak, and I think a good level to start the bidding at is honestly right here at 212. I mean, it found a bottom at 211.50 there on Friday. Let's see if it gets back there. But if you start buying in and around here, I feel like 50 cents to the bottom, then give it 211, then you're laughing with Apple. So I really like this name today. Buy this on strength in the market and on weakness in the market. So I like Apple today. I feel like this cycle is for real. I want to buy dips in Apple more than Microsoft.
All right, a couple more tech names for you on the upgrade and price target hike side of things. 3% right now. Micron just took out the highs. 145.80 was a new high there. 317 or 3.17. Bank of America with a positive note this morning, going to 170. ARM on the other side of the board there. Very same thing.
Yeah, this analyst at Bank of America, Brendel Vivek Arya, really liking both names, ARM and Microsoft, basically saying there's going to be a big upgrade cycle coming here, whether or not there are apps right now to take advantage of the strongest processors or this AI kind of wave is irregardless and immaterial. He cites the 4G, 5G deployment of kind of like as a comparator. So he likes ARM to the tune of 180 up from 150 and Micron to the tune of 170 up from 144.
Yeah, a little more attention than normal here in the pre-market as well. Already at 1.34 relative volume for Micron today, guys, as well.
Yeah, and one of those P's is not like the other. forward P's anyways. ARM's is insane. Micron's is, for Micron, actually pretty high, but pretty reasonable. But both charging into fresh highs. Micron actually making a fresh 52-week high in here and all-time highs as well. I think I'm pretty much certain. If I didn't say 144 earlier, then that's going to be obvious in terms of where the resistance was. If it's going to dip back into previous resistance, all of a sudden you have to go a full % back in to get to that 144 level for Micron. And just like Nvidia, the last 2 days, if you've been trading it, is that it's been dip and rip at the open. Like this has dipped. There's over $2 at the open before bouncing. And then on Thursday, it went again about 2.5, almost $3 to the downside before bouncing. In both those cases, it wasn't really gapping up as much, although it was gapping up on Thursday. So this is a little bit more extreme, but I think the same principle applies. You've been seeing a lot of this at the open on the chip name. They're not just, this move isn't just clean breakouts at the open. A lot of times it has been dips back in. If ARM does another failure, I shouldn't have missed it on Friday, obviously. We talked about this. It was really good on Thursday when it failed an all-time high and then just started trending down. If it pops and fails 168, climbs underneath VWAP, gives you a consolidation under, just got to have that short. Because ARM, unlike the others, they get actually spent most of the time looking like a dog on Friday than anything else after making that early all-time high. So if it does an early fail break, I've paid for locates on ARM. It just has to fail up here at 168. But I think I'll be in Nvidia and Micron more likely. And then leave ARM for if we do get a fail breakout and then a trend down, try to join that trend. Because when this stock comes back in, the profit takers are relentless with it like they were on Friday.
So here's what we were doing all weekend long, and you can see we brought home the hardware right here. Congratulations right here for the MVP, and thanks to the coaching staff as well. We had a fantastic time. My daughter has the Davis Schneider going on right here with the little Fu Manchu, and so does this other girl here. And so it was really, really super fun time under the lights. We didn't get back until about 10:30 or so. That night back to the hotel. So lots of fun. Thank you to Ancaster and to High Park Baseball. And again, thank you for all the support and all the kind words from everybody involved in that tournament and what it means for girls sports and everything like that. And we're really at High Park pioneering the move in Little League for girls sports. So, or girls baseball anyways. So again, thank you to High Park and to Ancaster for being the only two all-girls Little League teams. All right, and I'm proud to head coach one of them, so that's where that comes from. All right, so right here, Micron. I mean, it's a nice move all the way back up to the upside right here. And yeah, like we mentioned, their all-time highs 144.20. We're already above that, so you're gonna now just wait to see if we do get a pullback in MU. I would fade this. Again, I mean, I don't know enough about DRAM, but it just seems like, again, there've been so many other plays. We always talk about Nvidia. There's just been so many other plays that have just crushed it, like Broadcom. And I mean, even this name from January, $78. It's a double, 100% move in, again, 6 months. So some of these names need to cool down. And I don't know if Micron's the one to do it. I mean, you got to still break back down below 135, but we'll wait to see what winds up happening with Micron here today. For me, I'm going to stay away because honestly, it's just like the way I'm trying to trade is very few names and great opportunities and more shares. So I don't want to get too worked up about anything other than really Nvidia or Apple, but we'll look at Micron. I mean, I think it's a great opportunity to trade sort of another name in the space in case, which makes me think, in case Nvidia is not the one for you and you're looking for a little bit of just a different play. Sometimes the crowded trade isn't always the best trade. You can get a bigger move in a Micron rather than an Nvidia just because there's less liquidity there, so less people to stop the move. But SMH, I mean, I've identified this as the leading indicator like years ago, and we talked about that even with Chris Brecher. He was looking at the transports, and I remember talking to JC about this last summer, and it's just like, the SMH just leads it all. And I mean, if you're going to be at, you know, dollar cost averaging into anything, this, and I'm glad that we had talked about it. Again, it's split out there, so that this doesn't matter. But I'm glad that we had talked about this for a very, very long time, because if you had just bought SMH and not the NASDAQ or anything else like that, I think you'd be pretty good right now. The only one, of course, would be Intel and whatnot. Intel at this point isn't a huge percentage of the SMH because it's just like Nvidia moves Intels in a day. So that's the difference here. And then you're getting a big boost also with TSM. So if you like the space, I think SMH today is something to look at.
Tesla did get through that pre-market support level that we were holding on to. That was support from last Friday as well. If you zoom in a little bit, 178 was this. And this from after the close on Friday, trying to get back up above it right now. I mean, there's not a heck of a lot as far as catalyst this morning, 0.3% downside. We're still coming off from that Elon victory move last week.
Yeah, definitely keep my eye today on 180. That was an interesting level last week, both as support and resistance. That's from a technical level. With respect to some fundamental different headlines here, you know, obviously not market moving, but the Model 3 long range all-wheel drive in the US got dropped by a whole $250 on the Tesla website. Obviously not Tesla related, but BYD. Warren Buffett selling about 1.3 million Hang Seng listed stocks of BYD overnight, Brendo.
Yeah, it's not doing a heck of a lot here, guys, but thoughts for opportunities today?
Yeah, I think there's some. I mean, Tesla's still a little bit of a trend down. I want to get this super chat. Thank you, Mr. Westermeyer, for the super chat and for apologizing. You don't have to apologize, but clarifying. Yeah, I didn't say I would eat a pineapple pizza if Keith Gill joins the board. Last week, there was like I don't want to call it a ridiculous statement, but like someone made a comment about Nvidia getting to 500 by the end of the year. And I'm like, oh, I'll eat a pineapple pizza if that happens. That's nonsensical. But yeah, it's join the board. I suppose that wouldn't be too crazy if you own that much of the company. But, you know, Tesla, unfortunately for Tesla, the story remains the same, where this is your range, trade the range, but it is a downward trending stock. And until it breaks this trend, it would be nice if it could actually take out this 200. The higher low has been fantastic. These 69, 70, down in that range has been a good long, but 180, Friday. 182, I got marked off because I just left it in there. I mean, you saw what happened on Friday. It was Thursday's double bottom, and then it kind of broke down there at 182. So I think that's still a key level. But the 180 has just been reestablished. And before Thursday and Friday, 180 was your short level for a couple of weeks. And on Friday it was again, so I don't really see much of a reason to get away from it. I forgot to mention this when we talked about Tesla the first time, but now that Rivian did its move from 10 to $12.50, it's getting real close to pulling right back into that $10 level. So I said this week I'd be involved if Rivian got back down to 10 even. If it does, then we'll look to be on the bid for a bounce play. But might have to wait another day or two. I don't know if it's got enough juice to get down there, kind of sideways for Rivian.
All right, so today here we have Tesla is on today's sticky note. You can go find it at Trader TV, Sean. You can go find it on Instagram as well. And we have it right here, 180 short sale, under pressure as we get below this key level, right? Pay package now in the rear view. And I just ask the question, what's next? So right here, we don't say ifs, buts, anything like that. We tell you when. I mean, I don't know if it's getting to 180. If it does, we'll short that. I already mentioned, though, earlier today that with the market making that move down after we had wrote this, that I think Tesla, now you can almost change that 180 into something around here, 178, 50, 179. But then you look at what the market's doing now as opposed to what Tesla's doing. Tesla just found a great base and just popped almost $1.50 there while the NASDAQ did nothing. So, you know, maybe we're wrong on this one. And that's what day trading is all about. Give yourself the opportunity to figure out what levels, like that 186 was just here. Right now you get this dump down from Friday back into 180. So I'll still stick with 180 for now. And then we only have 1 minute to go. So you're going to see right here, just looking, there's not much size. We have Nvidia, I just saw, no, that's NDRA. I just saw Nvidia, but now it's gone. Dell, Nikola, TDOC, there's Nvidia sell. So a little bit of a sell here for Nvidia trying to push it down. We're still bidding 132. Let's see if that comes in. All right, 50 seconds left. Do we want to go to Sharif quickly? All right, what's up, Sharif?
We're talking about level 2 all week, Sean. Today we'll introduce the topic, so catch that with Adair and I on how to trade at 11.
Level 2 is part of the reason why I was able to graduate in less than 1 month. Starting here, we always talk about how it's hard to make these levels. And again, just a different market, right? The level was 6 times more than it is here right now, and that was back then. And I was able to do it based on reading tape in level 2, so that's something dear to my heart. So good cover there, Sharif, this week with Adara on the midday. All right, 10 seconds left. Here we go.
Let's go, Adair. Let's start this holiday shortened week off right in 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. So right before the imbalances, or as the imbalances came out, AMD actually dropped $1. Same time as Nvidia was making a bit of a pullback in, not bidding AMD, looking for shorts on that name. Not much happening there instead Nvidia, although it's right back at the 133 level, so it is starting to come back into 132. Just double checking on GameStop. GameStop, no dip yet at the open, but remember, that stock has taken a while the last couple of days to find a bottom. I don't think you want to be on the bid just right away.
I'm going to wait to see if we do get a move up here. We just got to 178.50, which was the level that we were talking about, but I was not brave enough to sit there and short that yet on Tesla. So that's something that's coming in right now. Just looking to wait to see if anything starts moving around. We did note that Nvidia has the capabilities of coming back into the couple dollar level here at 132 if that does happen. So it is coming in now, 132.50 or so. AMD is going down. Okay, so we'll have to watch out for that then. You're hitting the 200 period now. That's not normally something that we would look at right off the jump, but we could start the bidding maybe at 132.50. I mean, the market is going up here. I don't mind getting long somewhere around here for Nvidia. Maybe we'll start it right now. Let's buy some Nvidia now a little bit. We'll take it. We're long at 79. We just punched in right there. Nvidia long, first position of the day.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I wanted to mention one other thing. Remember, CrowdStrike is going into the index at the end of the week. I wanted to look for any pattern dip buy on CrowdStrike, as it's down at about 382. That's not till the end of the week. Apple's about to break out the high of the day, so we could have a breakout play almost right away here. And Microsoft, 444, that's the all-time high. Potential break happening here. AMD continues to absolutely flush. It's now down $3. I don't know where the bid's going to be there, but maybe it is at that 155.
All right, so right now we'll just get out of a quarter right now for that 30, 20, 25, 30 cents there. And now we're gonna try to take 50 cents on Nvidia. We're actually waiting a little bit higher than this. I'm waiting in the 40s for this play. We just touched out, that 50 period was 40, so that's where we were waiting. We just got as high as 133.30 right there, but look at it is coming back in right now. That is Nvidia as the market does pull as well. We said that we would much rather buy Apple dips than Microsoft, and this is why. I mean, I tried to say that, there was this case here to be buying Apple, and yeah, so there it goes, straight up to the upside. It looks like it still wants to go. So we're long. I mean, I feel like I'm looking at the best names. I mean, we've got Nvidia here and Apple here. We can check out TSM. I was looking at it. It's still 178. It's not doing a whole heck of a lot. Yeah, you were mentioning AMD keeps going down. It is
absolutely dying here. 155 is about to come in, but look, Tesla's going to the upside, and we like that 180 level, so we'll let it get in there. Tesla's at 179, so it's starting to get back into the pocket here as it's absolutely flying. 180 is that curl. Just quickly wanted to get over to Micron, which is dipping.
Yeah, that was
We talked about like dip and rip. This one down into that 144 level starting to come in, but the real dog is AMD. It just feels like, I don't know, like you have two names that are standing out in the wrong direction, and one of them is AMD. Intel, $30, by the way. We said that last week. If it gets to 30 and there's size in the bid, I would just take that. And it's getting pretty close as well.
All right. As we mentioned, we're trying to stick with some similar names. And I said that was easy because Micron. I mean, I was like, if there was going to be a name that was going to pull back here today, I thought it would be Micron. Obviously, I didn't even look at AMD. But there's Micron right here. I still like the long on this, but I feel like this little gap up right there, we just filled it, right? We filled it from there. So now I'm looking to see what happens down near here. We hadn't seen 136 in a minute. I don't think we get down there. So we'll wait on it. And we're still going to stay with the best name here. We're still long Nvidia. And then we just got the short here for Tesla. So let's see what that winds up doing. Apple is pulling back a little bit as well. So Tesla comes up to that level that we thought we liked, right? And then right there. So now we're in the money a little bit on Tesla, pulling back into 179.50. So let's put a bid there. We're just short at 85s. So we have this short. There it is again. I mean,
Oh my God.
we're here. I'm glad to be back, man. Glad to be back. So there it is right now. A good winner so far, 50 cents plus on Tesla. And then hopefully a real good one here on Nvidia, as we are now another 50 cents in the money. We'll get some pieces out here at 99 if we can. We just bought some 50s or whatever that was down there. That last reload was 60s, sorry. So we'll take it out there again at 99 a couple times. So far, so good here, as the market we're really not doing much, but some of these levels that we like are doing something. Good out there for 50 cents on Tesla. Watch out as it's burning higher now. We'll wait to see if there's any news, but nice move here as Tesla rips and the market tanks. So, something to look out for.
Yeah, I just had 88s on Tesla, and it blew through that top. Let's see if it wants to calm down off this level here. Yeah, right back underneath. So let's see if it can actually hold underneath. Sometimes you catch it on the way up, and that's not the way to go. It is starting to come back in, so I'm back in essentially the same price at 89. Watch out for Apple. Apple also trending down and about to break some lows. So the market is failing. Well, falling, I should say. Not failing, but falling. But I'm short back again. If it makes a fresh high on Tesla, we're jumping out of the trade. Also, that AMD 155, I guess that is a level on AMD. I never thought about going long on that sucker, but it is catching a little bit of a bid. And Apple, I do like some dip buys in Apple. That's a bit of a different story. If you liked it before, on Friday, it was 212.5 the entire afternoon. It was a barcode situation on Apple for the entire afternoon. It gets back to that price, which I didn't think would come into play, that I'm looking for a long there. But Tesla, look, if I'm shorting 180 when it's at 181, I am absolutely out. So we'll slap the fail on that one, but I'm not trying to fight it too far. Want to get this Apple dip in. 212.50, that was afternoon resistance on Apple, Adara.
I was trying to find anything on this Tesla move that we just had steadily to the upside. Not seeing any Tesla-specific catalyst, but there is this that came out right before the open here. Reuters reporting that apparently Berkshire Hathaway cutting its stake in BYD, so no to Tesla competitor there. Berkshire selling 1.3 million shares of BYD for $310 million. So just a bit of a note there. Berkshire trimming some BYD. Not saying anything Tesla-specific here, guys.
All right, now 60 cents in the money here on Nvidia. Just touched 133.20. Let's see if it still goes, man. I mean, if this market wants to go, maybe it goes. We're gonna, we're in this Tesla trade, so we'll wait. We're gonna wait for 181.50 to break higher. This is completely fine for me as we go. Let's wait to see what winds up happening. There's 181.50, kind of that little drop level right there. It's really 181.80, but I don't want to give it too much more than that. But you know what, man? I mean, we're already like, glad to be back here, like we had mentioned before. It's great to be gone, to spend some time off, but there you go. I mean, we're almost $1 now in the money on this Nvidia trade, as it just goes right back up to the upside. And I just hope that, again, and I want to give a shout out to Adara and everybody, Neil and everybody like that talks about the confidence. You got to have confidence in some of your trades. And right there, we talked about having Nvidia. We knew we wanted to dip buy this one, so we did exactly that. And we also knew that we wanted to short Tesla, which is now right back in the money. So again, have confidence in your trades, understand the levels, and at the end of the day, I mean, you just have to look down and say, okay, this has been working, this hasn't been working, and then trade your own plan, right? But you guys, you can see where these levels are going. These names could always rip back. Like we just took a piece out there at 34. You never know what Tesla's going to do, right? Especially in the first 10 minutes. So again, trade your book, trade your style. But so far, so good over here. Dell rocketing. I mean, I like Dell. We should have bought some of that on that dip.
Yeah, the stock that I'm looking, look, obviously we wanted shorts in AMD. AMD decided not to pop. You saw it just absolutely drop off the face of the earth. So if it's going to come back, we always look to support to resistance. So last week's support was $157. I'm just looking to fade it back into the $157 level. And I had mentioned if Intel We're to see the $30 level, we'd go long. By the way, it's absolutely not moving. So 20-cent range on Intel and simply not going anywhere. I do want to be AMD short side. No question about it. I want to get over to, you mentioned Dell as a name that is moving. There was a move on GameStop. I know a lot of people are watching this one intently, but there was a slight move to the upside. It's just trying to go. No breakout just yet, but it's holding that 29 pretty nicely here. Adara, what do you got for us?
Hims and Hers Health here, HIMS, this one making new day highs and new 52-week highs as well. Leveraging Partners raising their price target for the stock from $15 to $25, saying that they're entering into the weight loss drug market, which was announced about a month ago, is a positive sign for the company. Worth noting as well, HIMS does have a short float of about 9.9%, so keep an eye on this one, guys.
All right. So here we go, guys. I just want to show you that, you know what? We only have 2 trades on today. And right now, we have a $1 winner in Nvidia. Okay? And then we have right now 60-cent winner right now in Tesla. So we're doing it here again today. It's too bad we were very, very close to getting more shares up here. Just didn't fill the high there. We were at 180. We were at 180.95. We did not get that. So let's take that a little piece out as we go. Again, short one, long the other. Like that's, and I just feel that if you're looking for a resource to trade with, check out the sticky note, check out our watch list right now, because just with these trades right here, it's been a very, very, very good day. Bring it down. Tesla, here we go, props up, man. Nice move there for Tesla, Neil. As this pulls back down in through 180, we got it again, man. Props up. I know you're looking at the short. Here comes Nvidia as well. Nvidia is now $1 in the money one more time. So good trading here, man. Glad to be back. Thankfully, Obi was here to give you the excitement on Friday with Neil. But there it is right now. We're back. We're in the building. It's $1 winner now on Tesla right there as we go. So, okay, this is trading. This is trading 101, right? We talk about real trading. These are ideas that any of us could have on. So good shorts there, good long with Nvidia. We even said on here, on our sticky note, it was like we need to get the next catalyst for Tesla. You know, other than that, we're going to keep going short. And then we also said, why fight the trend here with Nvidia? So, I mean, so far, so good. Here this morning, we never know what the rest is going to bring, but it's a very, very good day.
Love to hear that. Love that hold on Tesla. I mean, everyone's going to trade a little bit differently. For me, 180 came and went. We had to get out. I did jump into AMD because it's actually weak, but you're starting to see some strength in AMD. So we got to VWAP. I always say short the first available pop if the stock is trending down. VWAP came in here. I'm going to give it to 156. I'm trying a reload right now. We're able to get some out at the 155.5 as well, so that is starting to come right back. Apple's about to take out the high, but we've talked about this before. Sometimes you look for the dip on the other way. I don't like catching falling knives. I feel like that's been a bit of a dangerous play. But Nvidia, I say if it sets up a breakout, just take a breakout. So if it breaks 134, it breaks 134. I'm still looking for the dip into 132. I tried catching it 32.5 on the way back in. It hasn't happened yet, but if it puts in a higher low, then the breakout is going to be the play through that top, and that's $134. Apple, I feel very similar about that name as well. So we're going to stick short in the weak names, and then always look for that long in the strong. Micron, you like the 144 level. We talked about this one, you know, whether it's previous highs, all that kind of stuff, resistance into support, it bounced off the 144. This also setting up for a breakout. And ARM, we paid for locates. I'm not chasing ARM. ARM has to be a fail break that trends down, has to hold under VWAP here. I feel like it's a weaker name over on AMD than just jumping into ARM all willy-nilly. GameStop, still not a heck of a lot happening over there in GameStop, but we'll let you guys know if that one does move around a bit more. It just failed at 29. It's actually right inside of the pre-market range. It hasn't really moved a bunch.
Okay, I'm not getting anything out at the bottom here for Tesla, which is a little bit silly. I was looking, trying to find other opportunities, and then I went over and I was like, why does Tesla just keep on bouncing? And then it's like, it's VWAP. So VWAP is right here. You know, 179.50. I don't know why I didn't have bids there. So I'm feeling like a little bit disappointed in myself for that one as Tesla goes back up. I don't like the fact that we just bounced off VWAP right here. So we're lighter and lighter now on Tesla, but at the same time, that was a mistake by not getting out of more. We're out of more than half of this trade already. But yeah, it's positive. We're up on it. It's just mistake there by not getting out. So I had to unfortunately take a 90 by the time I realized it, and then I just put another bid there. We just got a little bit of a bump up. I'm going to wait to get a better price. If it comes up to 181, we'll short it into 181.50. So we know that it has the ability to come back. So we'll wait for it. We're still 40 cents in the money on that one. What really has the ability to come back apparently is Nvidia. I mean, Nvidia just came right back into these lows again. So I feel like we should be buying some. And it looks like some of these dollar winners could turn around and potentially be a dollar loser right now. And that's what we said. You never want to judge a book by its cover completely because you turn the page and it's something else. Nvidia right down there into 132. We did like some of these levels, and I said that if it comes back in, we want to watch out for this, but we don't want to just layer in, right? Like, I mean, if it's going to be bad, you could ruin your whole day by, you're up on it, then the next thing you know, it's all the way down here, and you still have tons of shares because you've averaged in the whole way. So this move, I think it's worth waiting on. So let's wait to see now if we can get into this 130, 150. Let's not panic and dump anything right now. Tesla, we held on. That was a good move so far. But for Nvidia, 130, 150, I got to be patient and wait for that level and then see what happens down here at 130. So I'm going to do that on Nvidia. We will take a little bit more down here, as I said, but definitely not like layering into this. We're long now at 50s, so let's see it get back up to the upside. Here it goes right now. Let me take something out at 75 to take that 25 cents right there. We'll fire off a little bit as there it goes, a nice little reload opportunity for us on Nvidia.
You're the man there, Rob. Just got a reload on the coffee.
Oh, yes, Rob.
And looking for the reload on Nvidia as well. By the way, AMD just lost 155. It's about to lose $154 as well as it continues to flush. Now down 3%. This is about what we did, what it did 2 days ago in terms of breadth of a move. So I'm looking for a bounce off this 154 level. Everyone tries to do their own thing, but for me, if it bounces off 154, I'm taking this one out. I tried to add at 155, did not get the short through the 155 break. Unfortunately, but on the way back up, I will look to short some pops. But AMD just came right into target, making a little bit of a bounce here. We're going to jump out. Just take the money and run. We'll take our $2 and see if we can get out of here. As Nvidia is trying to catch a bid, and you're seeing AMD catch one at $154. Sorry, I didn't realize how far it was zoomed out. Now you guys can see. Bouncing off 154. We just went over, so the name we wanted short, we couldn't get the short we wanted, so just had to short the first available pop. Now I'll look for the second back into VWAP here. 155.5 to 156 will be the entry point. Just got to let it glide back to the upside.
Yeah, great call on an AMD. And I mean, noticing that weakness early was so good because, yeah, it just kept on going. And then, yeah, great retracement to view up. That's the perfect. That's exactly the kind of stuff
my goodness.
That we're looking about. So, yeah, someone just mentioned there Palantir. I don't know. I love the name. I mean, it's just going to be one of the top names for me for a bit. By the way, Tesla, we're going to get, we are going to get stopped out here if it breaks 180, 150. I mean, this name is just kind of surprising today with the market being flat. I thought Tesla was not the greatest trade there through that one down to the short side once we broke through 180. So we'll take, again, we just talked about this, we'll take a little piece. We're very, very close to getting stopped out now on Tesla. So we're only short here at 181. So again, well worth the risk to reward, I feel like, on this trade. But again, 50 cents one way or the other. Let's hope it's the other and it goes in our favor. So right now, that's something that we're looking at. So let's try to be patient with it. And then Nvidia, we sort of already, or I mean, we're not going to be that patient with Tesla because it's going to stop out. But Nvidia now going the other way. So here comes Nvidia coming back into 132 again. So that 130, 150 could be something that's on our radar here.
Yeah, it's just testing up. I'm going to be mad at myself over CrowdStrike. We missed an opportunity over there, but it is what it is. CrowdStrike getting added to the S&P. I feel like buying dips was the way to go there. Yeah, I'm getting some stickies as well. I know you're probably seeing the same thing on Nvidia. It's about to lose that 131.5. This is going to turn red for sure. I need to get a short pop back in here in AMD because if we're just going to continue to bleed on the chips, I want the weakest one. But we're back in. We had a scalp trade. Now we're back in. There it goes, 131.5. You've lost afternoon support on Nvidia, so going to have to look back into the 131 level as it continues to head to the downside. I just realized I got to turn my news service on so I can hear anything that does come through. But I don't think there's any.
I don't know. Mine's on. I didn't hear anything. But Sharif just mentioned to us there was some sort of a Supreme Court thing there. Dara, I don't know if you see anything on this, why NVIDIA is going down. Supreme Court something. Okay. That's not good.
Why would there be?
So we'll wait to hear about that. So Nvidia shares continuing to pull back. We'll find out. We'll find out. Bless you. We'll find out more about it when we get it. So, but here it goes. Nice downside move now. It looks like we did take the top out there. Of course, Tesla takes the top out, and we get stopped out. But we are back into it. Just a small piece here on Tesla as it hits 181.50, and then basically turns on a dime. So right there again, you know, like we almost made high tick there on Tesla today, 181.50 there for TSLA. But yeah, Nvidia. We'll wait to hear that story from Adara because it is getting to the downside right now. But so far so good. We'll wait for Nvidia and see what happens at that 130 level. We said we were just going to try to lay. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, sure. That we were going to layer into this one. Thank you. In and around 131. So we did that. We got 131.50. That was the next level. Now we wait to see what happens at 130. If 130 breaks, then let's just scram, or maybe even this level here, 130.50, something like that. But here we're going to get the news right now. Oh man, that's too bad. 131 is going to break as we do get some news. And look at Tesla, man, right back, right back in again for Tesla. Going to be a good trade for Tesla, but we did get stopped out at that high spot. What's up, Adara?
So here's this whole story. This actually is about a lawsuit going back to 2018. So not necessarily a new suit here, coming from this Stockholm, Sweden-based investment management firm accusing Jensen Huang and Nvidia of basically misleading investors about how much of their sales went to crypto investment. What's actually happening here, though, today, why this is back in the news, is apparently the U.S. Supreme Court is agreeing to actually hear Nvidia say that they want to basically settle this case. They want to say, they want to cut the courts. They want to basically scuttle this securities fraud lawsuit. So this actually could be an interesting move for Nvidia. They're actually they're hearing this appeal from Nvidia. So basically just an update here. Supreme Court agreeing to hear an appeal from Nvidia with regards to this 2018 securities fraud case.
Okay, that doesn't sound like overwhelmingly bad.
It doesn't sound bad. I think we're gonna have to still watch out for that.
Apple coming into the low of the day, looking for another. Apple went all the way to 214.80, got me to put in a 215 breakout order. It's right back into the low. I like 212.5. We didn't get 212.5 last time. I'm sitting in front of 60s, but I'm gonna look to just jump in. If it can bounce and make a higher low, we do like the long. On that news, there was a wick bottom, 131, broke, held, down to 130.70 on Nvidia. So I jumped back in with a stop at the local low, and now I'm going to look for the jump into AAPL. So Apple retraces almost the entire move from the open all the way back into the bottoms. The NASDAQ just bounced off 19.9. If that price sounds wrong for the NQ for you, then make sure you're on the U contract. That's the September contract, trading and bouncing off of 19.9 is the NASDAQ. Looking for a bounce higher low here on Apple, and then the 131 level on Nvidia. As AMD can't even get to VWAP at this point, so if I get a short in AMD, it might just have to be a little bit different from, maybe not yet. Okay, no, we still have time. Let's be patient here. It did get up to 55. I think there's going to be an opportunity to short this one on a pop. But we do want to get back in on VWAP as that continues to trend into the downside. The weakest of the chip names, but they're all coming down now. They're all starting to come down a bit.
Yeah, no, everything's starting to go a little bit here. So we'll take a good position here, hopefully on Apple against that bottom. Again, I mean, we just fell in here on the 20-minute chart. It's a 50-period moving average. We've talked about how key that would be for a stock like Nvidia again, and apparently Nvidia. Remember, we talked about this, Donnie Zimbabwe. You're right here, right now, at this level of 131. So there it is right now. It came into play one more time today. We've bounced off it. So, to me, this is why we're going long against 130 right now. Whether or not it works or not, we will eventually find out, right? So, all right, Tesla took some more profit there on this last little bit of a short. We got some Apple long there. We just took it out at, 20 or something? Yeah, we got some 20s there on Apple. We're only long here at 08s. So, again, just trying to see if the market wants to go back up. We'll ride with Apple. We know we want that long, so let's wait to see what happens. I'm in Nvidia here at 131.60. I mean, obviously this has the ability to come back up. These are kind of the levels that we wanted to see anyways. I feel like that 130 break, and then we'll just, throw up our hands and say, all right, well, you don't want to mess with the Supreme Court or any kind of headline news that involves that. And I don't know, but this is a nice move down for Nvidia. Remember, I was like, hey, if it gets down here, we'll be down like 1%. And I didn't see that happening, especially with the NASDAQ kind of being flat. So could be wrong, could be wrong, could be wrong. There's Apple. Nice move again. Let's take something out at 30 if we can. So we do that. So a good move back up there for Apple. Apple, Tesla doing well, Nvidia just hovering. But yeah, maybe we'll get a little bit out here on Nvidia just to relieve some pressure. But so far, so good off the 131 longs now for NVDA. Still the P&L #1 stock, I believe, here today is still Nvidia, but holding this against myself doesn't help. What's up, Adara?
Another actually Supreme Court related headline coming through this morning. This one for the sports betting related companies. I have DraftKings up here, not reacting too much to this, still slightly up on the day, but basically the U.S. Supreme Court denying a petition to hear a Florida sports betting case. So the gaming compact that does allow online sports betting in Florida will stand. So basically this petition has been denied by the U.S. Supreme Court, and online sports betting apparently allowed to continue here in Florida. So interesting look there for DKNG and some of these other sports betting companies on yet another U.S. Supreme Court headline this morning, guys.
Supreme Court busy on this Monday, that's for sure. So 131.5 just came into play here on Nvidia. Got an offer in front of 132 as well. It looks like it's making that decent bottom off the 131. Would be nice if it can get into VWAP in here.
This would be real nice.
I'm sitting at like 88. Offer is at 80. I was sitting it on the other side of 80, and then someone stacked the offer at 80, so I just offered 78 to be able to grab that. Apple making its bounce as well. A little bit more patience with Apple getting it on the front end. There's that higher low. We want VWAP here next, 213.60. And if we continue higher, I want to see if we can get back into an AMD short. That stock still relatively weak. Still don't see much of anything in by way of GameStop. But if you are watching, it's attempting to take out the low here. So remember, you had some really good support levels on Friday, and they were great dip buys. You just had to be patient. It was trend down for most of the morning before you could catch a bid. Not at the point that I'm looking for the longs just yet, but as you bounce off this pre-market low, that could be a good place to start. It's getting close to 10 o'clock when I would start looking for longs over in GME.
All right, so as you guys can see here, as we talked about it, Nvidia now will be, and hopefully stays this way, P&L here, #1 so far, as Nvidia goes all the way back up to the upside, and it's been absolutely crushed right there. Let's just wait to see where it goes now. I don't mean crushed P&L-wise. If it jumps back up, that'd be great, but crushed as in a stock. I mean, I haven't seen this kind of a move since, probably Friday, and I wasn't here. So let's wait to see now what happens with Nvidia. Hopefully it goes that way. Tesla's been good. It hasn't been good on that first move, but that reload was great. We did stop out at the very top, so we'll have to give ourselves a little bit more room in there, and we should probably do that, and that's something that we normally do. But it was really good that we had Apple come back up, so this was a big trade for me. So this Apple one, again, will be a big one. Yeah, I'm just really happy that we're trading these three names, because on here we have Nvidia. We'll have to look. Let's look at. We haven't even looked at GameStop. Let's look at Taiwan Semi. That was going to be another name that I was talking about for breakouts. And again, it didn't break out. That's the whole point. It's only been coming back into the downside right now. So this stock, you didn't really have to worry about that 180 break. It's only been downside, possibly finding a base rate here. But you know the poison that I pick, and that is Nvidia. And right now, I'm just going to stick with that bad boy, as it has a very, very great opportunity. I mean, right now, this will probably be, and you guys know this, we talked about share size, at least I do, and it's just, this is a bigger trade right now for me. So we talked about averaging into it. So if this goes right now, then this is exactly what we're talking about. Try to have, the ability to do this, because again, if you're in a hole in a trade, you have to sort of figure out where are we going with this, and then what is the idea behind the trade in the first place. And I mean, we had talked about this 130, 131. I mean, we even got a super chat about it. So to not have loaded up down here means you don't really believe that potentially that level is going to hold. And if you believe it's going to hold, then that's where I feel like what hopefully the way, both of us talk and everybody talks is that, I believe this is going to happen, so I'm going to put risk into this trade, And I mean, how many trade ideas a day do you really need to have? The answer is one or two. If you can have one or two and be right on those, you make your whole week, your whole month your whole everything. And then this trade on Nvidia, we talked about these levels. We did it. We put on more shares at the bottom than we did in the middle. We're really growing, and I feel like this has been a very, very good step in the right direction, being more patient. So there it is right there. Wingstop is a great stock. Yeah, don't say that too loud because then I'm going to hear. Yeah, I barbecued up some wings. Those were crazy. Last night we had shrimp. Oh, shout out to Tammy. We had shrimp and wings on the Barbie last night. So that was nice. That was a Father's Day treat there. It says Apple Neil. Wow, we are really right now cruising for a bruising right now in this market, man. Apple is absolutely on fire. The only mistake that we made all day was getting out at the top of Tesla. But it's all good, baby, right now as we get right back in the pocket here.
Yeah, speaking of back in the pocket, I'm going to stick to pretty much what has been consistently positive this month and has allowed me to stay consistent, where if I'm going against the grain on a stock, I'm going station to station. So if this stock is trend down, Nvidia's trend down. I can like the long all I want, but first long stunk. It's going to run through stops for me. I'm not holding it that far. But when we get the bottom, I'm going to play it back into the big level, which is that 132. Apple is a bit of a different story because it never broke the low. So I do feel like Apple in here, higher lows, hasn't broken the lows. I want to be adding back into the 213. I want to be adding at VWAP as well. I have not shorted AMD just yet. The market is catching a bid here. So with this happening, and there's your wick bottom, there's 19.9 holding on the NASDAQ, and now you're right back in the open range. This can get pretty bullish if you had a false bottom and then a breakout. So you want to be careful shorting things. When you have that kind of a bullish move in the market. Don't mind joining any of these moves right back in. I think that's what it's all about. You can always find that trend. My best AMD or Nvidia trade on Friday wasn't the initial dip buy. It was after it was holding VWAP and broke it back out the top. So I'm willing to do that as well. So let's get to the desk because it's already 10 o'clock. What's happening now, Adara?
Only half an hour into the trading day and this holiday shortened week, we've already had so much going on. Supreme Court related stories for Nvidia and some of these sports betting names, including DraftKings. In terms of the overall market, though, we do have basically flat for the NASDAQ, slightly lower here for the S&P 500. The NASDAQ continuing its trend of outperformance over the S&P 500 recently with some strength in the semiconductor names. Generally, though, Fed speak, we do have on watch day 3 Fed speakers coming in later today. Williams, Harker, and Fed's Cook. We had Kashkari speaking yesterday saying that he sees a rate cut in December, and that would be the only rate cut this year. So we'll have to see what these Fed speakers have to say with regards to rate cuts. In terms of some names on watch here, a lot of names trending lower, but TSM here still up about 2%. A couple positive catalysts, including a $200 price target from Susquehanna and a report from DigiTime saying that Taiwan Semi has already received some chip orders for Intel's upcoming notebook processor series. We also have here Micron, another semiconductor name on watch. BofA Securities raising its price target to 170 for the stock. And last but not least, GameStop. This one is going to be on watch here ahead of its annual shareholder meeting. This was initially postponed as of Thursday. Today, though, set for 12:30 p.m. You can catch that on the How to Trade show. We're going to have to see what GameStop does as of this meeting, guys.
Right. Thank you, Miss Adara. So right now, obviously, we've had dollar clubs on everything today, but we've already had this on Nvidia, and we did take some out, and we actually got out of a decent amount up there at VWAP. So right now, we have about less than a third. What am I talking about? We have less than 20% left of this Nvidia trade. Tesla, though, Tesla's right back up to this kill zone here. So let's try one more time. We did hold out pretty good for this move. We're going to give this one to 181, whatever that high is that we've just tested and then did not break again. And I was looking too busy at Nvidia, 181.70. So let's just wait to see what happens. I still feel pretty good about this because today is a trophy day and we're going to go 2 for 3, which means that so far so good. It's been a very positive day for us, but we've already lost on Tesla. So to go 2 for 3 and to be at the spot where you need to be means that at least I've share sized properly, I feel like, and some of these moves continue to go. And by the way, there's a dollar club right here. As Apple gets right back to 214, we're long at 213. That's going to be a good trade off the sticky note one more time. And then we just wait for Tesla. We just average back into it. We might not even be, I mean, depending on what Tesla does right now, we're not even down on this. So let's not say we're 2 for 3 until we are. But Tesla right now just bounced off 181. We should have taken some out there. Unfortunately, just took some out on Apple. And that's the problem about trading multiple stocks, right? Is that, like, I was just taking Apple profit and then didn't realize that Tesla had dipped in to a spot where we could have just taken 50 cents on it. So now we'll have to do that. Let's wait to see what happens here. Apple, nice move. Tesla needs to pull back just a little bit to give us that juice that we need. So far, so good here, man. Big day, and just glad there it is, man. Glad to be back. Tesla red stock. Come on, Travolta. Here we go. Nice move to the downside. Man, this is a good day. Glad to be back in the saddle with my guy Neil over here. So let's just keep this good vibes going, man. And so far, so good. Apple dollar, Nvidia dollar, Tesla 70 cents. What's good over there?
Just only in Apple right now. AMD, we'll get into it if it gets back to 156. Tesla, I was just about to get that 182 offer, but it didn't quite push in there. So I'm just going to cancel that order. Once it gets $1 away, I don't want to be on the offer of it. And I think we're going to get another chance here at Nvidia, because Nvidia curled off VWAP and starting to come back down in. So there's a wick off VWAP. It's hilarious. Like, that's pretty much exactly what I would have wanted to see happen on AMD, but that's not what AMD did. You are trying to make a higher low here. Apple, we want to hold on to this one for the high of the day. 215, let me zoom out. 215 was a level last week. Double topped at 215. If we get up there, that's an out for me. You know, it's its own breakout trade, the 215 level, so if it breaks it out, great. We'll try to take a secondary push or maybe a VWAP dip buy on AAPL. And even if it fails here, I'll probably give it a trail to 214.20 on Apple. The other thing that we should have talked about, at least a little bit more, you mentioned TSM in there. We also talked about Dell. That Micron move does not hold. So the initial bounce off 144 goes $2. It's now trending down. So it's a bit of a bucket with AMD and ARM as that's starting to sell off a little bit. It did bounce a couple bucks, but it's now going the other way on Micron. So if we lose 214 quarter, I am out of Apple, station to station, and if it breaks the top, we'll just look for a long over 215 on Apple. Pretty much the strongest one out here, because I just saw Microsoft as well looking a little bit heavy.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, good call. Yes, sir. Oh my. Wow, Apple. And again, this is the benefit of being able to have multiple abilities to get out, right? Multiple levels, like Neil was mentioning there. Come on, man. Neil, we got $2 on there. Good trade right there. And again, off of this stick, we like Apple. And if you like something, you put risk into it. And that's what we did with Apple, and there it goes to the. This is just one trade. Fall into 213, capture that up there to 215. It will now be P&L number one. I mean, it will, and we'll see if Nvidia can get back up to there. Obviously, Nvidia, if that kept going, then this would be a completely different story. But we just keep getting out of Nvidia. So right there, Apple clearly P&L number one, and if you've traded it today, then this is probably your biggest stock. I mean, there hasn't been, unless you really got hit there, taking out 214.50 and didn't hold it, which I wouldn't have. Oh my, this is just, honestly, man, the PA is going up, the day trading account's going up. This has been quite the epic move here for Apple. Glad to still be in it where we're at. There it goes. Oh, wow, guys, props up, man. I mean, wow, $2.50 now in the money. I'm almost, this doesn't happen too often, as many of you know. Pretty speechless about some of these moves that's been happening here today. We are now gonna go 3 for 3. Nvidia, monster trade. Apple, the biggest and the baddest of them all, as that just keeps on going upside, upside, upside. So let's just wait to see. Oh man, about Tesla, I was debating. I was like, man, I was tired. What an exhausting weekend, I never sleep well in hotels or anything, and all the sun and all the fresh air and just really, really going crazy this weekend. I was like, man, it'd be nice to have a day off. We don't, that's not, day offs are great to have. We already had one on Friday. And as D-Rob said, man, I'm glad to be back here as well. So it's nice to come back and really do this. So I love being in the seat, and I love that you guys are all watching. And I want to thank everybody for that. And make sure that you do check it out. Again, looks like it might be the #1 trending podcast again on YouTube this week. Go check it out right now as we drop episode 3 for the Freedom. I haven't even refreshed this on the Freedom and Wealth podcast. I think we crossed over 2,000 subscribers. no, 1.28K subscribers. Thank you so much for that as we continue to go. So go check it out, man. Escape the rat race. And we appreciate all your fine comments as we look to do more and more here at Trader TV. And this is to get a bit different audience completely. Derek came in, Neil, Sharif, everybody, really nice words about the podcast. I want to thank Brendan for joining me on that one, as we'll continue to hopefully put out, and not hopefully, we will continue to put out the best content available to you guys for trading purposes on YouTube. And I mean, not only are we doing those kind of things, but hopefully we're also showing you that there's a lot of capabilities here to earn an income as a trader, either as a side hustle or as potentially a full-time job. But I always have more to talk about that. But there it goes right now, 130 back up for Nvidia. That's a win. Apple's the monster win. And it's not even like these things are that hard. And that's the one thing that I want to talk about, right? Everybody has, and we talk about it here all the time, everybody has their own preparations and all that kind of stuff. But like Nvidia, TSM, GameStop, Apple, Tesla, it's pretty easy stuff. Even being away from the market on Friday, you just kind of go back to the same game, trust who you are, and understand that what your abilities are, and go back to those names. With that being said, GameStop isn't doing much. So this was something that I was looking for in GameStop, but so far so good here. Let's ride with Apple, and hopefully it dips a little bit so we can get some Tesla shares out.
Well, speaking of dips, I think this is the next move in Nvidia, right back into this 131. So if it gets there, we're about 30 cents away from the lows. Well, the 131, the lows are actually 20 cents, so 50 cents away from the lows. Want to see if it can bounce. Do not want to catch it. I actually caught it on the back. This looks like we caught it on the way down, but it actually wicked that bottom, broke back above 131, then did it again a second time and held that same low. So even if I wasn't in it there, we would have taken this trade. I'm looking for the same setup. Wick the bottom, give us a turn. We'll go into the long, play next available dip on Apple. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like wherever it happens to dip is where you want to take it. And Tesla, I don't know if I want to break out trade at 182. I'm going to give it one more chance to try to grab that short off of 182. But I'm going into the dip. Now you're seeing a green candle. Oh, that's the wrong price. It's always okay if you put it in too low. But 131,
oh my.
We're getting a bounce here on NVDA. And as I said, Tesla, I'll short it off that 182 one time. But if it cannot, that's in an upward trend as far as I see.
Oh, man. And see, that's the difference right there. Like, look at Tesla right now. We'll put 50 cents in the pocket right there on this nice move to the downside here for Tesla. So, we can definitely look at that one right now as the market. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Market ripping, but we've got this one right now as we're 3 for 3. And you know what? We have all 3 P&Ls. Like Tesla's going, let's go. We have Nvidia, let's go. $1.30. We have $3 in the money on Apple. I mean, this has been a trading day today, needless to say. So, so far so good, man. We're having our best day of the month already here, and it's 10:11. Let's go Tesla. We're almost out of it. We will take advantage of that move down because Neil's right. The trend on that one, but this is why we hit it. Once it breaks, we quit it. It's pretty simple, man. So we'll wait to see what happens there on that. Put that one in our pocket, a big trade there, hopefully for Tesla. But if it goes back up, it goes back up. 99 problems. Trading today definitely ain't one. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening here. We got a big boy on for Apple. Apple was real big, real good. So we'll definitely take a piece out now, though. As I see this trying to fade back a little bit, we'll take a 72 fill. And now we're just like relaxing and chilling because I just kind of want to wait to see what these things do. I feel like Neil mentioned about the bottom of Nvidia. We have the bottom. We're long at 130.79. The bottom today, I'm not even sure what it is, but it looks like it's 130.71, 72. So let's wait to see what winds up happening there with that one. But yeah, definitely so far a good day. I could look at Microsoft for you guys, but
Microsoft's weak. I don't know. I feel like there's other things out there. The thing that's look, Friday, Shopify was actually a double barrel good short. I think both of us, like both Obi and I had the same short with just different entry targets at that 68 level, and Shopify is down 4%. I don't know why it's down 4%, but I don't care why it's down 4%. The market's up and just went green, and this is going lower, so I want to add this to the list of things worth shorting off of VWAP. So that and AMD, although AMD's not, admittedly, this is not going to be VWAP, as I'll hit enter again, this is not at VWAP. It's at 156 where this is curled. So we had it the first time, but it's holding VWAP for support. This is the thing that I don't necessarily love. So there was one good opportunity here with wick 56 and catch it on the way back, but now you're getting a higher low and holding VWAP, which I generally think is a bit of a bullish move. That has me looking elsewhere, and the places that I'm looking are ARM, which is holding underneath VWAP, underneath pre-market lows, underneath previous close, looking a little bit weaker relative to some of the other chip names. So I'm pivoting away from AMD over to ARM. Nvidia, we're on the bid 131.5, and it's 10. Well, we're going to go to Adara at the desk.
Keep an eye on MIRM here. Mirum, this is a pharmaceutical-related company announcing their positive data for their treatment for a bile-related disorder. Worth noting as well for this one, they do have a slightly larger market cap, about 1.2 billion, and also a short float of almost 20%. Not a ton of volume on this one here, still below $1 million, but just worth noting, MIRM steadily continuing to head to the upside, guys.
Like how? Thank you for that. Like how strong exactly is Apple? I mean, 216 and still going right now. This is $3 and change now. And Nvidia's $1, Tesla's hovering around. I feel like now we might as well just see what happens and see if we can get this 219, 220 here on Apple. We're light now, about 10%, maybe less than 10% left on it. So, not here to say that, we're completely riding with this, but we've already, the fact that we got 213 up to 214.50, which was the high of the day, then we got 215, then we got 215.60, then we got 215.75, and we're right here at 216 now. So, it's really working out for us. Nvidia, as Neil was mentioning there, we do have the low of the day, so props up for that call out. The other thing too is that we're trying to get the bounce if it does come back in, but at the same time, we only have, and we already talked about this, we have now about 15% left of this trade, so it's not huge. Apple trade is about that little bit less than 10% left on that one now. And then the Tesla trade, I'm not going to reload this one. We were lucky, so lucky enough to be getting out here, but it's just like bear flagging or bull flagging to the upside right now. You have a nice little pull, and then we're forming out this little pennant now. I could draw for you if you want, but I'm not going to. And then you're going to break out the top. So this looks like a great long through the top. So if something looks like a great long through the top, you are not going to hold the short. So that's my plan of action right now for Tesla. If it does break higher, we're going to get out of it. We're short at 40s. We're out at 70s. So well worth the risk. Let's put another bid here at 31. There we go. So now we're just, okay. Did you guys just join me on this trade or something? Nice move down there for Tesla. Just pulled it right back in. So give us another opportunity to get out of something. So now we're even lighter. Let's just hold the longs here today as we go. We really like what we're seeing here. And so far, so good. GameStop, I'm seeing low of the day.
It's like GameStop, I think you just got to be really patient with it. As we said this morning, multiple times last week, ending in the week, all you had to do was be patient and wait for a bottom to get set, maybe even make a double bottom or a higher low. That hasn't happened. I don't think you got to force a trade. On Friday, you had to wait till 12 o'clock or just after that for it to be a good long. You're still breaking down. We're at $28 and heading lower. It has not held anything significantly. So I think just, for me, I'm backing off of this until I see strength. I wasn't looking to go short the name anyways, so it was probably not going to be able to capture this move at all. And we're back into Nvidia off that higher low just now. So this just put in this 213.5. I was able to get it on the front side of 60s. And if we get to VWAP, I want to play VWAP as the out. And if it's holding VWAP, look for another long. But VWAP has been resistance here on Nvidia, so I want to respect it. ARM doesn't seem to want to give me these 57s. And sometimes the only trade is going to be a breakout. We were looking dip buy back into 215 here where this broke out on Apple, and we're just chilling out at the 216 level. So there's still plenty of time for it to pull back in and give you some kind of an entry. But the longer you wait, you might not get it. So we'll look for that higher low. For now, it's going to be 215. And the only reason you're like, why 215? Just look at Friday. Like 215 was resistance up here, and that's where the close was on Thursday as well. So I'd like to bounce back in there and look for the long. Naresh, I haven't looked at Zoom, so I can't tell you where the bottom is going to be. And Daniel Adams, the only place I'm buying Intel is at 30 even. Not 30.18 and not 30.12. $30 even. If you're only going to make usually 30, 40 cents at best on this stock, then if you're long at 20s, you're not really going to have that good risk to reward. And the best level has been the $30 level down here on Intel. So I'll just wait for that. You don't have to compromise on your price. If you want to stay consistent, then take consistently good entries.
All right, let's just figure this out. 214, 215. All right, I was just looking because, I mean, we love Apple. Apple's going to be a top stock for us, but at the same time, we don't need to have this name drop too much below 215. I'm just going to use 215 as an out. I mean, can't believe that we got this high. You know where my stop is on this? Couple pennies under 213. So, I mean, we'll take $3 to give ourselves like 30 cents worth of risk. I mean, 10-to-1 trade off the banger. I mean, like and subscribe immediately to the show there so I can buy an iron for that shirt. Okay, so right now, let's just keep going. Hey, Adair, how you doing? All right, so 214.97 here. We'll get out of that. We'll put a stop, and then here it comes, coming back in right now for us. So fine. If it comes back in, not good. I mean, we don't want it to come in, but if it does, it does. We could take advantage of this as well. Like I said, we're already having the day that we want, but we are giving a little bit back because they're coming off the highs. And again, the NASDAQ and day trading, sometimes you're lucky enough to get the bottoms, and today we were in Apple and in Nvidia. We basically have the two bottoms in the two stocks that we like. And so far, we have the top in the one that we like short. So it's been just that's why I keep saying, like, it's been a good day. It's been a good day because of, like, things have just worked out in that way, that the bottoms remained bottoms. You know, and this Tesla top is not going to remain a top. It's going to break. Tesla, very, very strong stock today. This was, I don't know why this, there it goes. I don't know why this was really left for dead earlier on when it was so red. We tried to play the 180, got out of it, but then held it all the way back in, was able to make money, and then eventually does break higher on Tesla. So yeah, good call, but nice little move higher there. So good call on that one. I don't know if you wound up punching long or not. Nvidia, I see that you just got long.
No, I haven't. You're talking about Tesla?
No, I didn't know if you were going to punch long on Tesla because you were mentioning that it was at that high.
This
right.
is that big level.
It did just break.
I hate breakouts at this time. But I should have taken it.
But then I was mentioning Nvidia because here it comes pulling back.
Nvidia is pulling back in. That's where my attention is going to be. If it holds a higher low, I'm going to get into that one off the higher low. But it is time for the small cap recap with Adair. We haven't talked about many, but let's get to some now.
We're going to get to the small caps in a second. Also, if you're involved in anything like these tech names like Microsoft, Apple, Oracle, and Dell, keep an eye out. There is Dan Ives of Wedbush speaking on CNBC right now about these names. He also did upgrade or raise the price target for Microsoft this morning. So keep an eye on some of these mega tech names with that in mind. In terms of the small caps themselves, we do still have some weakness here in IWM, the Russell 2000, still below that 200 level and definitely finding some resistance around 198.50. So keep an eye on that level for sure. In terms of small caps, not a ton moving today. The standout by far is going to be TRNR, that's Interactive Strength. This one has a small float under 600,000 shares. It's going to be 539,000 shares. Market cap of under $2 million, so definitely keep an eye on TRNR here. We also have here MIRM. This one is a little bit larger, about $1.2 billion market cap. But this company is Mirum announcing that their bile disorder treatment study has had some positive milestones met. Also worth noting, they do have a float of about 20%, short float. And last but not least, we have GOSS. This is a penny stock. This one up almost 20% now, short float of about 6%. Keep an eye on these ones, guys.
All right. All right, so Nvidia went down to 131, so we're here, and we're not punching out, so let's wait to see what winds up happening right here for Nvidia. We bought some here, comes a nice little dip in, again right there, so I don't know what your plan is with Nvidia, but it is dipping down right now.
Yeah, I grabbed it on this last little wick to the bottom, so you're going to see almost the exact same thing. It broke 131 and held 131.75. I got it on the way back up through one. It's almost identical to the last time through 131. It kind of did it twice, like it did it 3 times actually last time, but it did it twice in here. So we got the first time, then we added the second time. I think scalping the VWAP is still going to be the plan, however. So scalp trade back into VWAP here on Nvidia as it's showing a little bit of weakness. Apple, not really. It's not going to get back into that 215 just yet, and we talked about that. Okay, it's not printing past 30s. I'm just going to get some out there. Apple's still not wanting to pull back, and Tesla did not take the breakout on Tesla, but Tesla is holding that 182 on the bid. That's for sure. Tesla looking pretty strong up there, even with the futures starting to pull back. Tesla rearing its I want to say ugly head above a resistance that we thought was going to be a turning spot. But I shorted on the way up. If I'm going to short a 182 level, I want it pulling back underneath and failing. You know, it just broke right clean through, and if you took the breakout trade, I think it went 10 cents against you if you took that breakout, at least from what I could see on Tesla. The one I wanted to short was ARM. I still have my order trying to get the 57s, but it's now pulled back a little bit too far. We'll try to get the next available pop here. Is ARM down 2%? I pivoted from AMD to this, looking for the shorts, simply because AMD, you know, holding VWAP and holding higher lows at this range.
All right. Yeah, we're just doing our normal stuff here. We can look at other stocks. Let's look at GameStop. I mean, we already know what our plan is for Nvidia. We've already talked about it. Nvidia and Apple will be huge stocks for me, regardless of what happens right now. Okay, GameStop moving lower. So GameStop right now, not a good day so far, as it's kind of just been trending to the downside. You had an early bump for sure off the open there. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Got to the pre-market high of 29.30s or so. And then now here we come back into 27, 28 bucks. So I don't think it's the long yet. I'm not waiting for a call to happen or anything. To me, that doesn't really matter what's happening with the call. I'd rather know when it's on so I could react to any sort of dramatic moves. But yeah, Sharif, man, Apple's now $3 in the money right there, as it will be PL1, and obviously not even close there today. But you could see right now, wow, it's pretty close. I mean, Nvidia's right there too. But we'll have to wait to see about this move back in for GameStop down to 27.30s. Would be that bottom from Friday. So I feel like 27.50 is worth it. So maybe we just park an order there and see what winds up happening if and when GameStop comes right back down in. So, all right. I know you're sort of taking little cuts there on Nvidia, waiting for this bigger move, and I'm trying to do the same thing, but holding on. So 130.90, we're just holding on by sort of small little piece of thread here as we're getting ready to break through that local bottom right now of 130.50. So again, we'll be up on Nvidia today, but if it breaks through this 130.50, then I think it's sayonara. On that, you got to be responsible at some point and get out if it does break through your level. So it looks like Nvidia right now will be a nice little downside push. And again, I just wanted to let you know there's a handful of traders that are positive today. It's not like this has been the easiest day by any stretch of the imagination. So we just got out of Nvidia. So right there, we will slap a fail on it. Green stock today. Green stock today. So for me, Nvidia's been a good one. We'll be red on Tesla, green on Nvidia, and very, very green on Apple as it's doing. And I just tweeted this out, Apple doing Apple things. So there it goes, man, 216 and change on Apple. Here comes Nvidia right back into 130 again.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I'm red on Nvidia. Thankfully, you know, you look at last week's trading, we'll be down on it maybe half of what an average day on it was last week. And Tesla's actually my worst stock, but I was just back in the short. I said I only want to short it if it looked weak off of that level, the 182. So it did break back down. I got into the short, and then I remember what was great about it wasn't crowded, it was Shopify last week. And Shopify was more finding it break that steep trend. And I was like, you know what? That worked so well. I think I want more confirmation of it. So here's the trend I'm going to work with. Basically what we're looking at on Shopify. This is the opening range bottom. Down here, 179.5. Draw like a loose trend line. If it's not losing this, then it's got to be underneath it. I don't want it bouncing off the trend, and I'm trying to short above it. So that's what worked well for us on Shopify. And just to go over, if you're looking at what happened in Shopify continuing to tank, it looks nasty. It was a similar thing here. We basically drew a really steep trend line on Shopify, and then when it finally violated, I was in right there on Shop. So that's what I will try to do on Tesla at these levels. Just want a little more confirmation. And you know, for me, when Nvidia is trending down like this, like I'm always looking at try to catch a bottom, but we got to get out of this. This is actually falling like an absolute rock. I'm now back over to why not just take AMD under VWAP. It's like, look at it flush. I went over to ARM and didn't get it. We liked only AMD short. We went over into ARM and never got the trade. But AMD basically gave you that 56 back into 54 a second time. And I had pivoted to what I thought was a weaker name in that particular moment. GameStop still trying to make a bottom. I don't want to lose sight of this. 2 hours until they have the event, and it's cruising down into Friday's lows. This would be the area that we're in looking for a bounce and anticipating a bounce. If it does bounce off Friday's lows, then I'm going to jump into a long trade back into VWAP on GameStop. See, patience, it continues to fall.
Okay, we've got a new idea. We're back into, we are now into the futures. So look, with Nvidia losing that bid now back down through 130, we could have shorted SMH, but I mean the TQs, thank you to Adam and thank you to everybody out there, for, sort of just always reminding that, there is, and this wasn't from today, this is just before, we've really traded the futures quite well. Now that we're underneath here, let's just go and sort of be like a little bit more technical now and try to get this downside push. And I mean, we have shares on board. If we break through VWAP right here, that's 30, then 40s. I want to use like this 200 period more as a level of concern, but here we go, pushing it back in right now, and we're singing with this now. As there goes TQs, hopefully it comes back. I mean, if the market wants to go back to lows, then I don't even know what to expect. We've also changed it, man. I mean, like I said, we're here. We're here, baby. This was a 30-cent worth risk trade for Apple. We hashtag real trading because this is one in right here, upside. The same thing with Nvidia. We were just buying those dips. We had a great trade off that one in there on that name. But there goes Apple. We've now changed it to 215.75. So we can have no less than a $2.70 winner right now on Apple. And we'll just wait. Again, we won't average into this one too much right now. We could get a little boost up here as we are bouncing off of 19.9, but I still think we can get down there. So back into VWAP. We've already talked about this trade. 74.40 is where we'll get out of this one, and it could lose. But we'll sit in the futures right now, 10:30, and just see what's going on. The market's flat. So let's go over to Adara and figure out what's happening then in crypto.
Interesting story here with regards to the ongoing discrepancy between what we're seeing in crypto and what we're seeing in some of these Bitcoin miners. Miners actually apparently reaching a collective market cap for all 14 U.S. listed miners of $22.8 billion for June thus far. This is according to JP Morgan. Best performer here is Core Scientific. They had an AI deal, and CORZ is up 117% for the month so far. So interesting story here is we have some weakness in Bitcoin, some strength in some of these miners, and you can definitely see that Bitcoin weakness on the chart here, continuing in a downward trend. We did have 2 small days of gains over the weekend, but we're giving up all of that and more thus far today, actually, at the 65.5 level for BTC, down about 1.5%. Ethereum also weaker, down about 2%, just holding on to the 3,500 level. And a lot of these other names are going to be a bit weaker here as well. BNB, Solana, Dogecoin, all down about 2%, but Ripple notably here up 5.25%. So bit of a discrepancy here between some of these names, generally to the downside, though, guys.
All right. I mean,
Yeah, although the stock I was looking at, you did that segment, was Mara, and Mara caught a bid and a half off the bottom. Like we talk about wipeout bottoms, and you get bullish after a wipeout bottom like that. So nasty, 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 break it out, and there's a bit of a short float here, consolidate above that 19 low from Friday. If this never breaks 19 again, I think I'd be looking for a long over there. Tesla, thank goodness we got out of that. Obviously, I could have just held on to it till the high, but I said let it actually break that trend down, which it didn't, and we just jumped right out of the trade. Tesla continuing to fly into the upside as we speak. That said, not everything is super strong. Still looking for any kind of a pop to be able to short into ARM as wow, Tesla is really flying at this moment. I think it may be just time to look for longs in Tesla. If you like 182, then why not flip it around and just say if it holds 182, it's a long. Just that simple. 2.5%. And if you look at Friday, and this went 183.5, and then up top was 186. There's a lot of room for this to rally here into it's a flat market, but it's slightly up. So should be playing this trend in Tesla. As long as that trend holds, I was willing to short underneath. I should be willing to long back into it.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was saying. Like, why did we not just take that break? It would be $1 in the money, and we sat here and watched that Tesla break right there. I mean, we said that, and it came back in and filled that position. 181.60. If you like the long, is a no-brainer long. There, we missed it. All right. All right. Well, you know what, man? We could be stopped out of this TQ's trade a little bit quicker than we had thought because Nvidia's all the way back and Apple just keeps on ripping as well. So it looks like we will. And this is an early trade, so we're fine. Back up here to the 200 period. This will put a damper, obviously, on our net as there goes the futures rate back up. It's a nice move. We took VWAP again, straight bounced off that bottom. So it looks like these triple Qs will go back up to the upside. This is 3 times the NASDAQ right now. So you know what? Let's just take off, here, let's take off 75%.
Well, there's a million shares on the offer.
What is this price?
GameStop?
74.50 right now?
Somebody's walking GameStop
Yeah, okay, go
down
over there and have
with
a
a
look.
million. Oh, it just
I gotta
got
pay
filled.
for shorts.
Oh, goodness. So there was about a million shares on the offer of GameStop that was trading it down. I just saw them all the way down at 27.40, I believe, was the lowest tick I saw on GameStop, and it just flushed. I'm going to try the long off this 50 level here on GameStop. So I just got 60s out in front of 50. So there was a big order, walking it down. They finally got filled. I couldn't really tell the exact price, but the lowest I saw the offer was down at about 27.40. I think it might have even been 44.
That's our level.
So if it gets down under, this is Friday's low, by the way, which was 27.40, oddly enough. We said if it bounced off that, we take our first shot for the long. So if it goes back under that price, I'm just going to get out. Going to look for somewhere to add on strength on GameStop. So still a very weak name, down 4% and still flushing. But it was a size order that's going to get me into this long more than anything else. Seriously, Tesla? Okay, as I was looking over at GameStop, Tesla just took $183. So I just determined that I was looking to go long off of this trend line, which is at 182. And now it's starting to extend away from it one more time here on Tesla. So Tesla continuing to fly. I wonder if I can catch something. Maybe Rivian's going to set us up for some kind of a break as I look over at that name. No, Rivian's at the low of the day. Okay, it's a Tesla story. Tesla and only Tesla.
All right. Yeah, Tesla's been a good stock for us. Obviously, we'll, as we'd mentioned, we'll both be red on that stock, but we'll see if we can get some money back into it. And then, again, we'll go another one right here and a little bit of a reload, but not really because this is the first time we've been short on Nvidia. And there it is, man. We make money both ways. There's the long, here's the short on Nvidia. Again, if we break too much higher than where we are right now at 131, then we will get out of Nvidia. But if our stop is 131, that's only 20 cents from where we're in. So let's start taking 30 cents as profit. So that's exactly what we did. So we've taken that now twice on Nvidia back in. So hopefully it will still continue to break lower, but I don't. That 129 and change, let's hold on to it. It's nervous moments because the TQs is right here. So instead of getting out at 40, I just said, first of all, will Apple ever slow down? I don't know. I'm going to wait for that break of the high. Because just for me we're having a great day, like I mentioned, just to get out now is one thing, and we could do that and take the L, which is fine. It is above VWAP, it is above the 200. I just want to see about this. So breaking 2 through the day's high. If it happens, it happens. If we lose Nvidia again, then maybe we get that move. And Nvidia's trying to hold 131, so let's wait. Just talking myself to hold into this trade, and then Apple just not slowing down. And we said that we would remember I said we'd rather, and I don't know, this might be backfired, but I said we'd much rather buy the dip in Apple than in Microsoft. Well, Apple's a $200 name. Microsoft's $400. Microsoft went about $2 upside. Apple, we're in a $3.50 winner now. So I think we did right by picking the right one, but it is lifting this whole market up. So we'll have to watch out. There goes Nvidia breaking higher again. So obviously we'll stay green on Nvidia, but that last move, take the 30-cent profit, lose 20 cents right there, all in all a decent trade. And then GameStop, well, we're in the money now. We were just in the money 30 cents up to 27.80. Let's put an offer at 27.80 to take that profit. And then if we break above 28, then good for that. But again, another sticky note name that we wrote down this exact level. Look for these GameStop lows in and around 27. So, yeah, good day here. Let's see if we can keep it going. But honestly, it's these futures that are going against me now that I know like. Slow down, Apple. I can't believe I'm saying that going long. And there it is right there. We'll take 25 cents on GameStop and then see what happens.
Yeah, I think what happens next is I think we can cruise. My guess is if it doesn't make a fresh low, that seller exhausted themselves. Just look for longs into 1230. I probably would want to get out in front of this event and, whatever. It doesn't matter whether they say nothing, whether they say a lot, whether they say a little. I just don't care. I don't want to be messing around with that game. But I still see AMD weakness. So it's underneath VWAP again, so I want the 155 half to be an out. So I want to short back into this name if we can even get it. So, about Tesla. Tesla is, so now it's up 4%. And you always say, like, what's the next trade? What's the next level? Well, I'm not punching long up here. When it was holding that crazy trend line, fair enough. But if it gets to $186, that was literally where it dumped at the open on Friday. So we get up to 186. Tam Panda just said, do you like Tesla short at 186? I mean, so 180 went for the short there. 182 kind of got in and out because it didn't break the trend down. I think that was a good decision. You can all see I just would have lost an extra 30 cents if I hold it to the high. But 186 was a pretty big level. I mean, if you're trying to short pops, then what else are you going to look for there on Tesla? I just feel like if it gets there, I don't know, the market's strong enough that I should already be in AMD short. I'm just going to quickly jump back over to ARM to see if that is available. Like ARM can't even get off the bottom at this point. Could just short it underneath 156 even, but it's sitting at 155.20, so there's really no trade in there. And Team PJ CT there, we've talked about this name, PayPal being a short till it's not. I agree with you. I just don't know. If you trade this every single day since the Apple event, it hasn't even had a green day since then, and it just lost $60. This just continues to fall and fall. Friday was a pretty calm day for this, only dropping like $1 or so. But you have another couple of bucks, another $1 down on PayPal, 1.6%. It's not just them. Square's having a rough time as well. All right, Tesla 185, 186 is where I'd look for the short.
All right, yeah, we're going to go back into Nvidia just because I feel like, first of all, we got out of that Apple. Apple did dip down into 216, so we got out of that. Good trade there. We'll put $3 on the board. We put that on a couple times, but we're just going to try Nvidia here. I mean, we're just noticing like that 50 period. We don't mind retracements back to the 50 period. That's at 30s now. So here comes a nice move down. We did put on some more positions on there for Nvidia. So let's take some out as we go again. So we're just going 1-to-1 here with the hopes that it does dump off of 20,000 and the NASDAQ. So that's kind of what we're shorting. If you notice that we are still short the TQQs, and we did talk about that. We like that 20,000 level. Come on, Nvidia, push yourself to the downside and look what's happening to Apple. If that can go as well, we might have something special. I'm going to take a piece off here in the futures because it does go back down to the 200 period. So, hey, man, hands off. We are almost at the highest spot for ourselves. We just got to settle down. This futures trade is, you know what? There it is again, man. Spin the money one more time. Like, we're talking about making 50 cents here on Nvidia and just sneezing at it. This is a good trade for me, taking this trade back in again. So really trusting some of these calls. There's Nvidia. It's another 50-cent winner. It's going to be a big P&L name here today, but I'm more focused on the TQs now and this futures move as we're short at 25 and not looking great here on that. So let's just see what winds up happening. Hopefully some more downside pushes in the market so we can get something out. Do we just get another fill on Nvidia? I believe we did, guys. We just got a 35 fill on Nvidia, putting another 65 cents there in our pocket. So, hey, welcome back, says 1320 Wolf. Thank you. It's great to be here. I hope the show is just as enjoyable today as it most likely and obviously was on Friday when Obi was sitting here in the captain's chair. So shout out to Obi again for all the work that he always does, of course. And so all right, let's go back over to the desk with Adara. Sector Watch.
A lot of interesting trends that we've seen over the last few weeks or months getting flipped around here. We have Nvidia notably to the downside, Tesla in the consumer durable sector, meanwhile notably to the upside. With regards to Nvidia, we did have that news that apparently they had this approval from the U.S. Supreme Court to scuttle this 2018 lawsuit with regards to securities fraud. So interesting catalyst there for Nvidia, the market initially reacting to this one to the downside. In this sector, though, electronic technology notably pretty mixed. We have AMD, Qualcomm, some of these other chips to the downside, but Apple and Broadcom both notably to the upside. Another name that it's about to split that's pretty strong here is going to be Chipotle over here in consumer services. Chipotle trading on a post-split basis as of next Tuesday, so definitely keep an eye on CMG. We also have upside for Disney and Starbucks, so consumer services, pretty strong sector overall right now. We also have a bit mixed performance in a lot of these sectors, including retail trade, consumer non-durables, and producer manufacturing. A little bit weaker are going to be utilities, health technology, and finance. Lots to keep an eye on here today, guys.
A lot to keep an eye on. DraftKings hasn't had a red candle since 10 o'clock. It is straight to the upside, up 5%, continuing to churn. Although just like I'm putting this one in the bucket of what we saw on Shopify, it was just as strong, and then it got to a moving average, and then the major moving average for Shopify was at $68, and it did a curl. So 41.20. This is going to be a ridiculous trend line to put in there, but it is what it is. Like, since it's bounced, like, it's been very, very steep. Here, if it wants to fail underneath 41, I'll look for some kind of a push underneath that trend. Tesla just continues to run. I'm thinking the same thing here. We have 86 as the spot to look for short, but the time that I'm like, oh, we got to stop shorting it here. I did not get a dip back into this trend. It just continued to break out. GME is still bouncing. No break of 28 just yet. We're going to have to wait around for that, albeit patiently. And ARM, I always say you got to be willing to buy high, sell higher sometimes. There's moments where your available trade is to sell low and buy back even lower. This can't get a bounce. The market's about to take out the highs, and this doesn't want VWAP. It doesn't want the lower high. I guess 56 is just going to have to be it for ARM. There's only so much patience you can have. If it doesn't bounce, then there's only one other direction for it to go. Don't want to be shorted at the absolute low, which is Friday's bottom, but if we can catch it at least a couple of dollars away from it and risk 50 cents, then that's going to be worth it. One of these things is not like, a few of these things are not like the other. Tesla fresh highs, but it's got to get to 86 before I'd even think about that short.
Okay, yeah, like Tesla for sure.
What a monster.
Yeah, what a monster. What a monster missed opportunity on that one for sure. But that's okay. We're doing good things over here too. We just got more GameStop. I just punched along through 27.80, thinking it could possibly go. We'll see on this one. I mean, we just want to be in this. If I could even scalp it up here, 28, 50, things like that. So let's get some more into Tesla. I mean, Tesla, GameStop, our first in was 57s. So we did get a good fill there on GameStop, and that will just take some more. I just want to have some more risk on. Want to have risk on. So let's see if it goes. So we did get out of some of this. I'm going to put another bid at 35 on the triple Qs here, and I know that's still that's going to be a 5-6 cent hit. Or what am I sure? I'm short 29.8, so I don't know what it shows on the board there, but so we'll take a 5 or 6 cent hit if it does come in. And I'm just trying to get out of like 10% now. Each one of these was very less than that, very much less than 10%. But if we can come back in, we're just kind of bouncing now off the 200. We've done it now 3 times, so that's not great. It did pull back in. It completely stopped where we were short. Our average price was right here at 30. That's basically where it stopped on VWAP. So I can't, look at technicals and try to trade this and then not trade off of it. Even if it goes against you, you got to think to yourself, okay, if I wasn't in this trade, how is this looking? And that's sort of the thing about trading. You can make so many trades in a day. I mean, already here today, just for myself, and this is not, as far as trading is concerned, so I've gotten 130 fills. But that just means that, like, for example, here on this TQ trade, we probably have, here, I'll tell you right now, this is just one idea, but I already have 15 fills. So it's just about getting short here under the 50 period, then being patient up to day's high, taking another fill, then trying to get it back out and holding again for this bottom sort of where we started. Because if we're right, then it should fall back into here. So far, so good. Everything's been working out, and we're pretty happy with it all. So let's just continue to watch out for it. Nvidia, we only have about 20% left of our position as this fell right in, and we were lucky enough to, again, get those bottoms at 130.25. Let's see if the market comes. And then this one here, Apple, this is where we got out. So just with 15 minutes left, it looks like my whole morning won't rely on this, but I, by far, the largest notional trade here for me right now is what we have on the Qs. So we'll wait. We're not out of enough of it. I'm hoping it falls down, but the NASDAQ is really resilient here. Looks like it may want to test 20,000. We're going to be out before that happens. Tesla, an absolute beast, guys.
Yeah, it's still going higher. You got to be, if you're looking to short that name, don't compromise on price. If a stock is strong and you want to short it, then wait for yours. And that one is strong. I mentioned when Adara did that crypto segment that Mara, while down, and I get it, it's down, wipeout bottom, higher low, held 19, which is Friday's lows. It just bounced and gave another higher low. So there's your hold of 19. There's your higher low at 15. I just jumped into it, so we wanted some confirmation on Mara. Going to get some out into the high and then hold it into, like 19.50 is where the stock closed on Friday, so hold it into $19.50. So we're long at 15s. The stop will be underneath this local bottom here on MARA as that is continuing to go with crypto. If you're watching crypto in general, I'll go to IBIT.
GameStop.
For some reason, I'm not getting my BTC chart's not working. But if you're watching Bitcoin, just watch IBIT here. It's breaking out this top as well. So Mara going with the move, which I like. So you're going with the move. As long as I see that strength in Bitcoin, then we're going to play this to the long side on MARA. Tesla, maybe Tesla doesn't want 186. It's starting to get a little bit heavy up here. You're now at a couple of pullbacks. Trend is still holding as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to hang on to the 186 level being the short. And ARM, I just set up, we'll short it off 156 if it gets there. And ARM makes another press into the low of the day. So we're continuing to break down into the low of the day on ARM. Still hasn't taken Friday's lows just yet, the 154 still holding on. AMD, that's also looking very weak. It's about to break its low of the day. The only thing that I've shorted today that actually worked was Advanced Micro Devices, and it continues to flush right into the bottoms. Let's go to the desk. It's time for a little money talks.
What?
We have the DXY here continuing to the upside, looking to make its third green candle in a row here, holding on to this 105.54 area, basically plotting where we did close on Friday. We had one economic data print today. It's going to be the NY Empire State Manufacturing Index. This one coming in higher than both the estimate and the prior number, -6 versus an estimate of -12.5 and the prior number of -15.6. We have some Fed speak coming up later in the day as well. Fed's Williams at 12, Fed's Harker at 1, and then after close at 9 p.m. we'll get Fed's Cook. Worth noting as well, we did have some comments from Fed's Kashkari over the weekend, generally known for being pretty hawkish, and this was no exception. The comments that he made yesterday, basically saying that he thinks a December rate cut could be reasonable, one rate cut this year, and it would come in December, saying that he won't, and the Fed need to see a little bit more slowdown in inflation before making any rate cuts. So interesting note here from Fed's Kashkari. We'll have to see what the rest of these Feds have to say, guys.
Kashkari should be interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say, come on, the futures right now, because, hey, look, in honesty of trading, right? You guys always want to know, if we're green or red or anything like that. Today's is a good green day. If we were to get out right now of everything, we'd be at our highest flat spot we've been at, right? So, I mean, so far so good here as the market just continues to give us everything that we need and more right now. So let's see if these futures, not in more. And then, I just hope that we can come back in here to 74 again. We've just taken some out now, so that's making me feel some kind of way on that one. And then we already talked about being with the people on this one. We even punched in more on this one with GameStop. So now we're just getting some out. We're getting some out at the 50-period moving average. We still have more than half of this trade on board right now for GameStop. If it moons, great. We're here for it. But we're now playing with house money. So if you want to get out at the bottom of the day, be my guest. I'm not getting out till we break through 27. And that's just what's good for me. So let's wait to see. I don't even have any offers up, but now that I see where VWAP is on GameStop, why not just put something all the way up there? And again, have the confidence in the trade, and I added to the position right there. So that just show you, I thought that bottom, could be something. I'm not as confident for sure in this futures trade to the point where we're getting out for losing. This is a losing trade. Even though it shows us short at 36, our average price, I think, remember I was telling you 27 and change or 26 and change right there. So even the fact that I'm getting out right now, this is a losing trade, but the net is done quite well here. It's just, if this drops, then we're going to be on cloud 9. So let's just wait to see what happens here. 74, 10 and change. Good day. And yeah, let's just continue to support that those positive vibes again. We do have Sharif coming through with Adara on the midday. They're going to be talking about what is near and dear to my heart, and that is level 2, because as we already mentioned there, that's what sort of got me in this game, and that's how I became sort of, the manager. Okay, here we go. Here comes TQQs. Like when I hired Neil, it was teaching level 2. It was all about that. That's exactly what we did for hours and hours and days and days and days. Teach these youngins over here, although I am older than Neil, of course. And we do have many, many good stories about the good old days, but part of it was teaching all that. And it happened really quickly for me. And that's something that I feel like was not only due to the passion, obviously that you can see is quite evident, I hope, for what we're doing, but also for the fact that I did get and learn that ability to read that, and then was able to, of course, put up, and I can tell you the number, it was $6,000. We talk about having to make $2,000 over a lifetime or whatever here. I did 6 in the very first month. Again, picking a right stock, being in the right environment. You could have negative months over negative months, and then all of a sudden hit something and ding, starts to work, or the stock just starts to operate properly. It doesn't mean that what you're looking at is wrong. It's just sometimes stocks don't move in the direction that you've studied, or that like all of your sort of your time that you've put in, that you've seen the futures do this and all of a sudden it doesn't. You're gonna get caught in those days, man. Not every single day does the stock act the same way it did before, or as per your notes, or anything. I mean, I think this is a good example here with the futures. I was close to getting out here at 40. If we flip over to this screen just real quick, and then now all of a sudden we notice that, hey, 20,000, that was a big level in the futures. Let's just up this stop a little bit for the TQs to the point where right now on these fills down here, 74, 18s and 20s, we're able to turn positive on that stock. So, stick with what you're doing, stick with your guns. Nvidia's 50 cents in the money. Hopefully this future trade goes. And honestly, man, it's been just another great day. And I just want to thank everybody for making sure to watch this show.
Yeah, I see it.
The podcast is ripping up. We have level 2 trading coming with Sharif and Adara. More fun things to come as we go. And we'll have Michael Noss tonight on the recap show. And I don't know, sometimes we'll have traders in the afternoon. I'll double check the sheet, but so far so good here today. All you really need is
I thought we had Danielle this afternoon. Well, I'll double check. I thought we did, but yeah, Danielle Shea will be coming through in the afternoon show, and then Michael Noss will be on the recap. There's news for Polestar as it tries to get back above $1 here, trading higher. The company announced a geographic expansion and plans to enter 7 new markets in 2025. I don't see in this note exactly what those markets are, but Polestar is up 28% on that news. I don't want to, whatever, I'm kind of smirking as I say that, but it's a penny stock, right? So I kind of made my bones on penny stocks, at least after I graduated. I think it was, my second month I started focusing on penny stocks because they were the most profitable when I was a trainee for me. But breaking this top out here, if it gets to $1, there's actually room to like 110, 115. So I don't think this is an auto short up there just yet. But Polestar in play, doing very good volume as well on PSNY. I just want to jump over back on over to ARM. ARM just bounced off of Friday's low. So there it is, like your first level of support here on ARM as it tries to head high, tries to bounce higher. And if it gets back up in the VWAP, I think I should be at least more patient waiting for it. I'm still in GME. If it gets to the event, I don't think I want to be in it necessarily if I can profit take it and still underneath VWAP. I'm trying to grab these 60s. It was that big size seller that dragged it down. This huge volume candle here, there was one order walking it down. They got filled at 27.40. I got 60s in. I'm trying to get more at the 60 level and then take it back into VWAP, and 2 more for you. We only have 3 minutes to go. Tesla, the plan of action is still to wait for 186. So it's about to break the high of the day. It gets to 186. That's the level I'm looking for the short. Probably a little bit easier to be short at lunchtime than it is during the morning. And then we bought the second dip back into the 19 level on Mara. This is Friday's low on Mara, but it's the higher low that I want to see it hold here on MARA. You are getting a bit of a pullback in crypto, so watch out for that. If we hold VWAP, getting more out in front of the current tops. So that's what we're involved in. That's what we're looking for. You just got to be patient. Tamp Panda, which is better? I like this question, so I want to quickly get to this. Breakdown levels or retest levels? I think it really depends on your style of trade. If you're a support and resistance trader, you're probably going to say retest levels because then you get confirmation on levels that have already been good. You take bounce trades and then scalp off of them. If you're just like a pure momentum break and hold for the rest of the day, then you really like breakdown or breakout levels because you get that initial trade and then things just start flying. So just a quick example, only because this is the first thing that came to my mind. Like if you just simply took, there's your opening range top on DraftKings. If you love these types of trades, and that's kind of, if you're a breakout trader, this is what you love about them. It shows you the opening range, it holds that previous low, and then just boom. It broke out, there's not even a red candle until, whatever, is a 3-minute chart. It's probably like 10 candles in a row to the upside on DKNG. So it's just about what you prefer. I like support and resistance. I tend to like those confirmation levels a little bit more than I'm gonna like those clean breaks, because the thing about a breakout trade is it's not always easy to decide where you're wrong. If you're trading support and resistance, it's not hard to figure out where you're wrong. It breaks it, you get out. The breakout trade, you got to make a judgment call as to how far you want to give it back.
All right, guys, with only 2 minutes left, I just want to say, like, we're having a great day, and look at this. This is how you continue to move forward, right? And it's like being able to be very small hit on Tesla today, considering the fact that it did this. We were short early and wrong, and we got out right there. Then we made a bunch back, shorting, and then just got out on that top break. Obviously did not punch long, but right there, to be able to be where we are right now, is great considering that, for me anyways. Like, I feel that was really good risk management there on Tesla, and I think that's the number one thing. And we talk about that with Brian Shannon. We talk about that with all the guests that we have on, and that is that proper risk management can save you, and that's exactly why we have those stop orders. And someone said, like, how does Sean trade all this? Does he put in orders himself? And yeah, I do. I don't put in stop. I put in stop orders manually. So that therefore they'll trigger and I don't have to look at it. Because if I'm not looking at Tesla, then, and I got to get out when that breaks, that's the level right there, 182. I just should have punched long, obviously, on that one, but then what kind of it? I mean, I would have loved to have punched long, but we would have then been on cloud 9, that's for sure, one more time. We're going to wait for the TQs. Again, we'll have one red stock that it'll be Tesla. So just to tell you guys, our one red stock Tesla is, we made 5 times that. Let me reiterate this one more time, because this never happens. Never happens pretty much on this show, period.
What's that?
Where you'll probably disagree just because, but I think Tesla, me being down Tesla 5 times more up on our worst red stock.
That's happened before.
See? Has it?
Yeah, it's happened before.
Okay, yeah, it might have happened before, but so I take that back. It's a very rare occurrence that something like that happens, and I just think that and I'm just talking about myself for sure, because proper risk management, I think, is very, very important. And sometimes I'll just be so stubborn about something that my losing trade will just be infinitely more than my winning trades. And you guys know that, so I'm just saying that today. And and as Neil mentioned, like I always looking at everything. I don't see that often. So right now, today, especially when you trade multiple stocks, it's been a good one. And we're about to lose here on the TQs, by the way. Like, if this takes out that high, we're getting to 20,000. And this is a perfect example right now that I don't even have my hands on. And when this breaks through, this breaks through. And so we're out of that right now, and get out of TQQ right now. So there it goes, back up to the upside. And now this hit now is much closer to what we made on Apple.
Guess where Tesla is?
So,
well,
187?
No, 186, 186.
Yeah, this market is at the day's high. The bad trade for me to get out of, and we've got to go to these guys in a minute right now, but was this Apple trade. Because we got out when it broke lower, but then we did not reload it at the 50-period moving average. So that's something there that I'm not 100% sure why we didn't reload that. But we did favor the short into 20,000 for the futures. I could be stubborn now and go at this again until we officially break 20,000, but the charge is on, man. And by the way, also, GameStop right now trying to go upside. So I'll figure out what this exact level is for the TQs, but it's well up now, and a break of this, and we should probably be out of this trade again if it happens. But I'm out of TQQ right now as it continues to go higher. So let's just hold out on it. Getting near that 20,000 marker is going to be something there. So, all right, yeah, good day, man. Good trades there, Neil.
All right, here comes the Tesla. Obviously, we
AMD
said
trade
86.
was great.
Obviously, we said 86 was going to be that line. It just wicked it a couple of times, meaning it's been up and down. Friday's high, pre-market 186.5. It breaks that. We're out of Dodge on TSLA. It is the level 2 that is your gateway to the market, at least visually speaking, if you're entering orders. And that's what you're going to be learning about today and learn to trade. Let's go to Sharif and Adara.
Yes, what's up, beautiful people? Welcome.